Holy, episode 261. My goodness. There been a lot of stuff going on in the last 24 hours. Wow. We are, of course, here to discuss the big news that just happened, fresh off the press, just dropped. And I'm talking about Roger Federer retiring from professional tennis. Discuss.
Really?
Oh, I actually didn't know that.
Wait, are you trolling?
Fucking Google it if you don't believe me.
That's the biggest international news in the last 4 weeks. That's a Queen joke.
Yeah, dude, like I said, that's I told you we had some big news to discuss, and you thought I was joking. But you know what? Now that we're in this bit, I'm committing to it. That is actually huge news.
Wow. How old is he? 41? Okay. Yeah, I mean,
he released a 4.5 minute video that I didn't bother to watch because I feel like, you don't need. Well, I say you don't need 4.5 minutes to tell people that you're retiring, but I kind of wish he would just start with that. When you're gonna. I don't know. Again, I didn't watch the video because I don't know at what point he's gonna say it, but I watched maybe the first 10 seconds, and if in the first 10 seconds you don't tell people what the news is, you are just kind of blue balling me a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Right. You got to start off with the important things. Yeah. Hey everyone, I love you all. I'm announcing today that I'm retiring from professional tennis. Here's why, and then spend the next 4 minutes telling us why.
Yeah.
Don't start off with like stuff I don't care about. Say the thing that you need to say straight away. Is my policy.
Based. Dude, if I think about one of the best tennis players that has won everything over like decades and decades at 41.
I think about Serena Williams.
I think about arthritis. Like those knees must be fucked. Don't get me like the pressure that these knees were under, they probably produced diamonds. Like his, the cap of the bone has to be diamond. There's no other way under this pressure. And like the young folks will eventually understand. Put a pin into this.
I've just Googled heaviest man in the world, John Brower Minnock. I don't know if I said the name correctly. 1,400 pounds or 635 kg. Whose joints under more pressure, Roger Federer or John Brower Minnock?
Mr. Minnock probably hasn't stood up in a hot minute.
That's true. That is also true. But if he were to stand up, and he is, by the way, 6'1". This guy, the heaviest man in the world, 6'1". He's actually not alive. I do have to be clear. Person is not currently alive, but I believe is the heaviest person ever recorded.
Wow. Yeah, might still be Roger Federer actually.
Wow. Okay. Holy shit. Respect. The only thing I know about tennis is that movie that Will Smith was in, that he received an Oscar for, and then got banned from the Oscars for. So that's my only connection to tennis.
Yep.
Also, there's news about the Queen. Officially nerfed. We don't actually have the patch notes yet about how far she got nerfed, but hopefully enough that we won't see jokes anymore.
You're fucking terrible.
And I'm here to talk about Overwatch. No, okay. I don't even think we're going to do much banter today because there's legitimately a lot of stuff to get through.
So much.
There's so much to get through. So, without further ado, episode 261 brought to you by Avril Vista Bebe, Battle Crab, Refine Bean, Bronze Babu How, Picasso, Chris R34444, Cash 67, Lol Shin, Porkchop Sammy, Rex Zane, Volamel, Smooth Nuts with the YouTube members I Sam Jello, William Jesse, Vishman, Fireman 6, AK, and Chris R. Yeah, and the reason why we waited to bring out this episode is, completely coincidental. No, it's because we knew the news was dropping, and you're like, you know what? We're gonna wait. We're gonna cover the news. It was definitely for that reason. And that news is the big announcements that happened over the last 24 hours, the last day. Just, I feel like we've been waiting so long. Gigantic game announcements and new information about our favorite sequel, Modern Warfare 2. And,
I know.
There's Warzone 2.0. No, okay. Well,
I saw that one coming. I saw that one coming. No, I just knew stuff. You gotta, put the heel turn, you gotta increase the level of each heel turn every episode, at least one level. That's been a continuous trend in this podcast.
And then we finish talking about Modern Warfare 2, and then we don't talk about Overwatch, and we just end the episode. I love that.
Yeah.
No, that like Call of Duty Next event has actually been popping up. I was watching it earlier today, and they've got like 200 streamers. They have my favorite Call of Duty streamer, Tim the Tat Man, who by the way is sufficiently tatted up, hence the name. He's got tats literally everywhere now.
Yep.
There's a bunch of new game modes. It actually legitimately looks good. I'm actually quite keen for Modern Warfare 2. I'm not even lying. And they flexed about how they have hundreds of millions of Warzone players. I'm like, shit, that'd be nice if that was Overwatch one day. People joke about us not having players. We actually have a lot of players, and hopefully we're about to have a lot more players. Does anyone care about you? Play a lot of Warzone, Yiska. Surely you care about Modern Warfare 2 at least a little bit.
Yeah, I can. No, for sure. Like I don't care about much about COD. To the extent that buying the new COD is always nice because it lets you level guns quicker, so you can pop off in Warzone sooner. For which I'm paying to win and crying zero amount of times.
I love pay to win.
I love it. Give it to me.
Pay to win.
Level like battle pass weapons.
I used to be
stuff.
anti pay to win.
Yeah,
but that was when I was.
Then you
poor.
got old. Ah, right.
That was when I was poor.
Right.
You know how like everyone when they go through school and university they're a socialist, but then they get their degrees and they start working a job and you're like, you know what I quite like money. I think I might just go the other way. I might actually be a capitalist instead.
Yeah,
it's funny how that works.
Yep.
That's like almost legitimately every person I know. They used to be a socialist in university, and as they got older, they're now capitalists because they suddenly had money. It's like when I was poor, I was a socialist, and now when I'm not poor, I'm suddenly a capitalist. That's how life works. It's quite funny.
It's also like when people get children, they get vastly more conservative. Interestingly.
Yeah, that's the natural way of the world. Okay. Kiriko. Joe, you care about Modern Warfare? Do you like that? I talked about Kiriko and then went back to Modern Warfare.
I remember playing Modern Warfare and raging about akimbo guns, and that's at the brink or like the precipice of my memory of Modern Warfare 2. Okay. Good time. I'm happy for the people who are happy about it. Yeah.
Come on, Joe. You were one of the worst kids in the lobby.
Like in terms of like what?
Like voice.
Because I'm gonna say yes to both.
In terms of
like,
voice,
I was the worst in aim. I was probably saying a lot of dumb shit. I was probably, up way too late. Definitely couldn't aim.
That's me right now.
Make that apparent.
Did you want to have your room made up by MLG, like refurbished?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I thought we grew up like me and my normie friends kind of grew up like idolizing like MLG. We would take like friends of mine still have like WoW characters named after like Halo pros and like WoW pros and stuff like that. So like very much up with the Dr. Pepper Gaming Lounge refurbishing the rooms and whatnot. Shout outs to who's the host? Never mind. I'm going on a tangent. Anyways.
You are.
Fuck it. Oh no, sorry.
No, it wasn't Puckett. It wasn't Puckett.
Now people can't even be annoyed at me because you're the one going on.
Right. Yeah.
I haven't even started my 3-hour rant yet. I think I might do that before we start talking about Overwatch.
We're terrible. You remember when we talked? You just talked about when people like bury the lead, like of what they were, and then I, in my tremendous tennis career, and then like after 3, and I'm also retiring. We're doing the same thing right now.
That's meta though. That's meta as fuck. That's the whole point. Why did you think I brought that up?
It's a social commentary. It's satire. Yiska. Jeez.
I'm full of satire today.
Idiot.
We have a new hero. The worst kept secret in all of Overwatch has finally been confirmed. Everyone by this point, everyone has now seen Kiriko's new animated short in Spanish. And with not even the final music, they actually had the cyberpunk music in there, which I respect.
Oh, sick!
It was the Johnny Silverhand theme was in there. Nice. Okay, so we had some real stuff coming through. We had some real legit juice come through. And the sequel I'm talking about is Uber's having a second baby, guys. No, okay.
Really?
Come on, man.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, damn. Oh,
no, so
many do you
we
have?
We had a real. I'm actually leaving. I don't want to do this episode anymore. We had a real announcement drop. Look, Plat Chat didn't cover this. I'll do whatever I want. I'm on a leash right now.
She's unhinged.
I'm going rogue. I'm going rogue. You have to listen to us because Plat Chat didn't cover this. So fuck you.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Based.
I also have COVID, so I'm a little loony. I don't know if I have
Same.
to take a test. I actually have no idea. New support hero. We already so this was like leaked, right? The stuff was leaked.
Yeah, it was pretty much hard teased
and
by Blizzard.
one. No, I don't. No, Blizzard didn't leak it. I'm talking about the actual leaks.
I mean,
Right.
sure,
Blizzard leaked the battle pass stuff that people got annoyed about.
true.
But we saw the Fox stuff way early on, and
Yeah.
now we have some actual gameplay footage. I actually really love this video. If
Super
you're
sick, yeah.
if you're a visual viewer, you are seeing the video right now. If you're an audio listener, go to Play Overwatch, Twitter or YouTube, and you can check out the gameplay video. We'll just keep playing again. Keep it on repeat.
By the way, like in the very start of the trailer, right? She deserves to be banned from Overwatch League. I'm pretty sure she's surfing onto this. Eric, go back to the very start of the.
Who cares? It's Kanazaka. There's a deathmatch.
That's inaccessible terrain. Like if Winston does that, it's banned. It's like a replay, 100%.
It's because Winston's not a ninja.
True.
Right? See,
You have a Gunba on the phone.
so she's not going to be available. That's another question. I don't know if we're going to get into that, but like,
Sure. Yeah.
there will be the question of like when and if Kiriko will be available to play for the Overwatch League, because you have to remember, the game of Overwatch 2 launching October 4th launches in the middle of the Countdown Cup, literally like 2 weeks or 3 weeks into the Countdown Cup before playoffs. So there's some stuff to think about there. But let's just cover the actual news, and I'm not going to get into too much speculation here. Confirmation of the support hero, who she is, what she looks like visually, confirmed that she looks like the actual leak. And if you've seen the leaked short, which don't support leaks, so don't watch it. So if you haven't seen it, shame on you. Don't watch it. If you have seen it, shame on you. Don't watch it again. But if you did watch it, you probably saw some of the gameplay stuff in there. But you do see the gameplay in here as well, in the actual announcement video, the gameplay announcement video. We can sort of cover the abilities as well and what she does, because that information actually got released by the Play Overwatch Twitter. And I'm going to bring that up myself so I can that. We can sort of go over what she does and talk about what we think about this hero. So I'm just going to say she's a flex support, because when I look at her kit, I'm like, yo, this is flex support city.
No, way too many mechanics.
Holy shit. This is like Shoe's going to go to town on a hero like this.
Yeah. And
God damn.
And this is not a hero for bad main support aim players.
Oh, yes.
So you're telling me the Mercy mains are not going to play this hero? Oh dear.
Is it? Am I wrong in feeling like this is very much like a Zenyatta school of support?
This is a
I
Genji
think she's way crazier than Zenyatta. She's way crazier than
Sure,
Zenyatta.
yeah, not like a 1-to-1, but like you understand where I'm going, where it's not like just
I think she's closer to
healing
that.
output.
And I'm not just saying that because of the immortality thing going on.
Sure.
But like in terms of a hero that has serious damage output, where your left clicks do matter, in this case, her right clicks, whatever the damage output button is, you can rebind that. It's what it is. I'll probably rebind it. So let's talk about what she does. Her default binding, her left click, heals. It's called Healing of Fuda. Channel a burst of healing talismans that can seek targeted allies. And you see in the gameplay video, essentially she throws these talismans at her allies, and you can lock onto heroes. And when you just throw them out in the open, they're blue, and when you lock onto an ally, they turn gold, and they seek allies and heal them.
Right.
I can't remember if you can heal through walls or not. I don't have that information. But they are homing. I've had it explained to me as some sort of combination between Mercy, Harmony, and Moira healing. Like some combination of all three of those.
Okay.
Because it does, like the Moira, I was going to call it a projectile. I don't know. I guess it's kind of like a projectile. I mean, P is a projectile at the end of the day, is it not? That's how I look at it when I'm at the urinal. I do target things specifically. As this is what COVID does to you, by the way. You just get really loopy. The talismans slowly float towards a target and heals them over time. And it's not a fast heal from what we can tell. It's a pretty slow heal, but it is a guaranteed single target heal that is going to land on a target, which is why people compare it to Mercy and Harmony from Zen. You can also preload or front load the healing from what we're seeing as well. Where like essentially you can, because the healing travels across the distance and it's kind of slow, you can just throw the healing at a full HP target, and you're sort of front loading the healing so that as they're taking damage, the talismans are arriving to heal them, right? So kind of like when used to shoot full health targets as an Ana, just to preload the healing. I think that's kind of cool. The really important ability, I feel, or one of the important abilities, she's got a lot of important abilities, is the kunai. Which is currently bound to right click. Throw projectile that deals increased critical damage. This right click currently has the highest headshot modifier in the game, if I'm not mistaken.
What?
Widow is, I believe, 2.5. This thing is 3 times critical damage.
No shot. That's crazy. Okay, this is definitely a flex support. No shot it isn't.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's a flex support. So I actually have damage numbers, and by the way, this is not a leak from me because Evie's already put this out there. It's 40 damage body, 120 head.
That's nuts.
So 2 body shots, 1 head is a kill, or 2 headshots is a kill for normal.
How fast
normal
is the
200 HP
throw?
You can see in the gameplay video.
Right.
It's pretty quick. I don't think it's hit scan. I don't think it's hit scan, but it's pretty fucking fast. So it's not quite hit scan, but it's nearly there. Or maybe it is a scan. I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure it's a extremely fast projectile.
Holy shit.
If I was to guess, I would say it's about the speed of a fully charged Hanzo arrow. If I was to guess.
Ah, damn.
But I've also, based on like what OG is saying, assuming that he wasn't trolling, he is saying that it's pretty hard to aim. Like you're not getting consistent headshots all the time. You do have to fucking have an insane aim. Jonak's coming back, by the way. Jonak's going to dominate. Jonak had a tweet about Kiriko. So I think this kunai is going to be wild. The fact that your damage output can be literally DPS levels on a hero like this is so fucking huge. If you can catch somebody unaware, you can delete them. You can straight up delete them.
Sure.
But in combat with people, like you're not gonna stop a Genji blading with this thing unless you, get a lucky headshot. You're not gonna like just randomly kill a player. I don't think you're gonna get a tracer here. You'd have to be insane to kill a tracer with this. Anybody with good movement is not gonna get hit by this at all, I feel. Let's talk about her next ability. This is probably the one that people really are focusing on. If there's one ability I think people are very much tunnel visioning on, it's this. Protection Suzu. Upon impact, allies in the area become briefly invulnerable and are cleansed of most negative effects. And I believe it affects her as well, because you can see the sort of white aura come in the screen. And it's like a grenade. You basically throw a grenade, and when it impacts a wall or an ally or an object or whatever, I think the range is similar to an Ana nade. It to me looks like the size of a Bionade. It makes you invulnerable, and I believe the number is 0.75 seconds, so 3/4 of a second. You are invulnerable, and you are cleansed of most negative effects. And from what I'm aware of, most negative effects is mainly stuff like anti-heal. What other negative effects are there? Anti-heal, bleed, wound.
Yeah, could you be cleansed?
I was going to say stun, but there's like really no stuns left. Slow would probably be cleansed.
Yeah.
But it won't cleanse an Ana sleep dart. Sleep dart is one thing that will not cleanse.
Because
that's too good. Can you imagine? Dude, this hero would completely invalidate Ana. She already does. Like you just throw this nade on top of the bio, and your team is just like, you're purple, cool. You're just now no longer purple.
Yeah.
Nice. So no, it doesn't cleanse sleep because that would be way too good. I mean, at that point, Ana's just delete Ana as a hero if that's what it does, because it's just too crazy. So, dynamite burn. So burn. I mean, burn. Yeah, any burn, wound, dot kind of damage is gone. We saw it in the gameplay video. You can just throw it at your team, and you just live against a Junkrat tire. In some cases, it's stronger than Immortality Field. In other cases, it's definitely not as strong, because Immortality Field just lives there, and until you kill it, it just keeps going, right? This thing is 3/4 of a second. Like, your timing has to be precise as fuck. I believe the cooldown's long as well. It's a long cooldown, I think.
That's good.
Has to be.
Yeah, I like that. It's a good thing.
Yeah, I don't think that's particularly like super overpowered. I think for the general player base, it will be very hard to use effectively. I think in pro play it's crazy good, right? Like,
That's okay.
how often do you necessarily expect someone to time it well? You know, and there's some cool, like what I like about it is when it works. I think it will be pretty noticeable for allies because, like, imagine like you're Reinhardt and you're about to get, or like you're a player, you're about to countercharge, let's say Reinhardt, and you get like, what's it called?
End.
The ability protection Suzu'd, then you're charging instead of countercharging, so knocking into each other. So you're winning that duel based on your Kiriko, being on point.
Just realized, based on the name, he's like, what do you call it? Suzu me, bro. Can you give me a Suzu?
Yo, hit me with a fat Suze.
Hey, yo, got any more of them Suzus?
No, Suze on 3. 1, 2, 3.
No, I think this kind of invalidates Diva Bomb. It invalidates Taya. Actually, Taya is a funny one because there's some mind games there because you can just run Taya at somebody and try and bait this thing out.
Yeah.
So there's some mind games there. What else does it invalidate?
You know what?
I wonder if it removes hack. That's a big one, actually.
That's not a bad shout.
So,
I think she, like, in a weird, not a weird way, because I think, like, if you think kind of through it, it makes sense. But I think in like a good year, if we get like another Tracer meta, I can see like a good Kiriko like really giving Tracers a hard time.
Oh yeah, because you can invalidate Pulse. Yeah,
you invalidate Pulse. You can reposition. Yep. Obviously, we'll get to that ability as well. You can threaten with the 3x damage modifier. Again, it's very hard to hit, but at the professional level, I'm expecting these guys to be cracked within the next 6 to 7 months.
If I'm Tracer, I'm far more concerned about rushing a Zen with Discord and a kick than this right click that could maybe 120 damage me, because the Discord is way scarier. I feel like the kunai is not going to be that easy to hit versus like good players that know how to dodge and know how to like move. Let's talk about the next ability, Swift Step. This is the shift ability. Teleport directly to an ally, even through walls. I don't know the exact range on this one. I've heard a couple different numbers. It's like 30 meters or something. Don't quote me on that. I think it's still like, I think they're still working. I don't actually know the range. You have to ask. You have to check like ML7 or somebody who's actually played the hero, because those guys went to the Creator Summit. They've actually had hands-on experience on this hero, so they know like all the actual numbers, and they've been putting out the numbers. So I'm sure Karki's got all the numbers on a video already.
You got to channel it though, right?
No, you don't. What do you mean channel it?
What? Yeah, what do you mean channel?
Channel the teleport.
Shift. No, you don't.
It looks like you need to channel it.
No, it's instant. It's instant.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, that would have felt a little clunky, to be fair. Like if it wasn't instant.
You're telling me she gets a hex flash instead of a flash? No thanks. No, it's you instantly teleport. I believe the cooldown is very reasonable. It's below 10, but it's like above 6. I think it might be like a 6, 7, or 8. I think it's like a 7 or 8 second cooldown. So it's not like it's because what's fade cooldown? Fade is, in some cases, I think fade is still stronger. In some cases, because it doesn't require you to target anything, and you can just disappear, and you can jump in the fade. So in terms of this being a strong mobility tool for support, not as good as fade, and in some cases, Shield Bash is better as well. In some cases, because Shield Bash can also be offensive, and Shield Bash's like range is pretty long now. But she does a lot. I mean, I think the shift alone makes her crazy. If she didn't have the shift, I think the rest of her kit would still be strong. But like, I wouldn't look at it and be like, holy fuck. Whereas like, even if you took away, say, the Suzu, which is obviously quite strong, but if you took that away, I'd be like, well, no, that is weaker. But she still has that shift. To me, there's something crazy about the shift in combination with everything else that's really strong. Because the combo that's intended, and by the way, I might as well just add now. We're going to get to the ultimate soon, but I might as well add now. The passive is Wall Climb. So like Genji and Hanzo, because I believe she's somewhat connected to the Shimadas or some. I don't know her lore, but there's some connection there. She can Wall Climb and they can all Wall Climb. If you guys didn't know, Japanese people can just walk line. That's just part of the culture. So the combo is like what you shift onto an ally and you drop a Suzu on the ground and you just make them vulnerable while you heal them. This is supposed to be how it works, I think.
Yeah. You know what she reminds me of? Psycho Pomp from Bloodline Champions. If you guys remember.
Never played that game.
Oh, that's a throwback. I didn't even.
It's a big one,
Never
right?
played the game.
So, Psycho Pomp in Bloodline Champions, pretty sure had. Okay, I think it was more like you hit an enemy and would exchange points, but it was also like like an ephemeral character, if that makes sense. Like also, I think Fox themed. Also pretty high damage support. The heal was different. Was there? I think she had a fear though. Yeah, maybe a little different, but
Oh, she will make people fear her.
Yeah.
In various ways.
Yeah, no.
Let me just bring up the. Sorry, you finish off your point.
Just like I think if you guys were to look at Alchemist from that game and look at Anna, you would see a lot of similarities. And interestingly, in Bloodline Champions, Chips Hyen used to be the best alchemist in the world. Then he came to Overwatch, and then for a while was also one of the best Annas in the world. So that was always interesting. Also a character with anti-heal and sleep. Pretty based.
I'm looking up this game right now, and yeah, I don't know. I've never seen this before. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
The ultimate.
Oh, yeah.
Of Kiriko is called Kitsune Rush. Summon a fox spirit that rushes forward, accelerating the movement, attack speed, and cooldowns of allies that follow its path. Yeah, so pretty big deal.
Yes.
This is a crazy good ultimate.
Little good.
And so all the Torii gates that come up, that she just like starts sprinting through, that we've seen in multiple teasers now. It's in the gameplay video, obviously. Cooldowns being reduced while being on the path is incredibly good for certain heroes that rely on cooldowns like Doomfist.
It depends on how it works, right? Because let's say only cooldowns are reduced that are used while you're in it. Or it could be, I have a cooldown, I step into it, now my cooldowns also reduce.
Right, I don't know which version of that it is.
So depending on that, it might be different, right?
Yeah, that'll be an interesting thing to test.
Also, do I need to stand inside the zone in order for my cooldowns to go over quicker? Or is it like I step in it once, then I have like my reduction and it's done, and I can step outside and have reduced cooldowns?
Oh, actually, I think it only works. Here's how I think it works. So, because what? Let's. I'm gonna run some hypothetical. I don't know what the numbers are, but let's pretend the numbers are 30% faster cooldown. Let's pretend. Let's and because there's a way that you can think about it. Like, is it like, oh, I use an ability and I just instantly get a 30% reduction, and so if I had a 10-second cooldown, it's just instantly 7, right? And it goes 7, 6, 5, right? And it's no longer 10, it just goes to 7. It starts from 7.
Yeah,
that's one way to look at it. But I believe the way it actually works is not like that, and your cooldown is still 10, but it goes down. It refreshes 30% faster. So, you know, instead of it being the normal 10 seconds, 10, 9, 8, 7, it does that, but like 30% faster, if that makes sense. So while you are in the thing, your cooldowns are refreshing 30% faster. Like the numbers are actually, like each second, it's shaved by whatever the actual cooldown reduction is while you were in it. So it looks like your cooldown timer is just going like 10 out of 7, it's just going down much quicker, like whatever the number is, instead of it like being a raw, like cut it down by X amount, you just get it front loaded. You don't get it front loaded like that. I'm pretty sure you were in it and then it does the thing, like I said. So yeah, attack speed is actually ridiculous. I think this is the first attack speed modifier we've had in the game. And I do wonder how that works for certain things, because some attack speed is kind of attached to. Let me think about that. Because everything has an internal cooldown. I was going to say, like, if you were Cassie, because you just spam left click, everything has internal cooldown. Apparently, fan the hammer is wild inside the ultimate. Like, the fan the hammer speed is really fast. I know, like, using a soldier, tack visor inside that is crazy.
Mm.
I wonder if there's any weird interactions. I'm trying to think if there's a hero that would have a weird interaction. Can't think of one.
Action.
I'm pretty sure her own cooldowns and her own attack speed increases as well. So now you can spam those right-click kunais.
Yeah.
In some ways, it kind of, for those that play League of Legends, kind of like this movement speed kind of reminds me of a cleared ultimate.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I do get that kind of feeling.
Also because of how they animate, or I guess I shouldn't. Yeah, okay. Like talk about the leaked short, but yeah, they animated the effect very cute, in a cute way, I found. The grandpa and the child.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. Don't spoil it. God.
Well.
Dude, see, now Joe knows it's a grandpa and a child.
Yeah.
Whose child is it? Whose grandpa is it? Is
I
it
don't
her grandpa?
know.
Is it her child? Does she have a child? Is she a mother? Who knows?
Who do you identify more with grandpas or children, Joe?
Grandpas.
I would have never guessed.
That's kind of weird because you have a child, Joe. So.
Me?
As a child?
Is it me?
As a child?
You do have a child. Both of you have a child. You both have children.
Well,
that you live with and take care of.
Kind of. I have a half a child, genetically speaking. Because, like,
So that's her kit. What do you think? Like, she sounds pretty strong, yeah. She doesn't sound crazy strong. Like, I don't think there's ever been. I was going to say there's never been a support definer meta. Brig is definitely definer meta, so I don't want to get in that territory. But I don't think she's like that level. I don't think she's like because it's the thing about release Brig. It's not like her inherent strengths. It's what she denies. It's what she prevents other things from doing. From what I can tell from her kit, there's nothing about Kiriko that prevents other compositions or other important heroes from functioning. Does it make Anna a bit worse because you can just block antis with your Suzu? Yeah, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Is she like harder to dive because she can just teleport to an ally? Yeah. Other than that, I don't think there's anything crazy. Like, does she? I think everything is just good. I think everything is like generally good. She does a lot. She just has a lot of options. I think that's the best part about her is the versatility, right? She has a lot of different options to accomplish a lot of different things, and that's very valuable in a game of Overwatch.
I feel like if my gut feeling right now, also like based on what people are saying, I feel like the first thing that probably will be nerfed is the headshot modifier. Either like they gotta like make it less possible to hit those.
I like where your head's at, but I'm in a different direction.
Or they need to decrease the multiplier. I don't know.
But if that's only if it's easy to hit.
Yeah.
And from all information that I've been aware of, it's not easy to hit.
Well, we have this OG tweet, and I'm not sure if I'm too boomer to analyze the contents of it, but like OG tweeted 6 hours ago, as someone who has playtested Kiriko, hero is nuts, man. It's actually crazy hard to hit the knives and cycle the cooldowns properly. And then later on, he tweeted, I was lying. And then a Better Call Saul misinformation gif. Now, this could either mean, oh shit, I validated my NDA, or I was capping.
Also, he says, Lamau, why did they make a hero just for Juby?
What is the Juby lore?
I don't know. These guys keep like mentioning Juby all the time. I don't know. I don't know what their thing with Juby is. I keep talking about Juby though. No, I don't even think the right click's that. It doesn't sound that broken to me because it sounds mechanically rewarding and it sounds difficult to do. Also, 120 damage is like it's high, but it's not.
It's not ridiculous.
I don't think it's ridiculous.
Manageable.
Like,
I would say I think if I'm remembering, because I like saw the initial release this morning, kind of still a little sleep deprived, and then I remember seeing that somebody said that Kiriko doesn't have damage fall off, and I think like that.
Oh no, she does not. I saw that as well.
Yeah, that could be.
She needs damage fall off. She definitely needs damage fall off. Spamming from range is going to be stupid.
Yeah, I think
you don't want to
like,
get logged. Getting logged by Kiriko will feel bad. So I wouldn't want that.
Yeah. I think you want her to feel a little like mid to short range. I think like she has enough mobility. She has enough tools. I think you don't want instances where she just plugs into like a poke archetype and she just like invulns people and then just like runs away. And like you then have to just like chase everybody down, right?
Her cooldowns seem long. I think her cooldowns are long. Like her cooldowns are very punishable. It's like it's not one of those heroes where it feels super frustrating to play. I don't know this for a fact, so I guess I'm kind of talking out of my ass a little bit, but because she doesn't have super spammable abilities, I know I don't count the right click as spammable. That's just a shooting mechanic that everyone has. No, like they're strong abilities, but you have to be very precise about when and how you're using them because otherwise you're going to get caught out. So, yeah.
I think so. I'll say this, and I think this opens up another kind of tangential topic discussion because I believe she's coming in for Countdown Cup. The fact that it would be in
I'm just gonna tell you she's not then.
Okay. Interesting.
Source, I made it the fuck up. I'm just gonna say she's not.
Okay. That would be a little odd. Then I would have to assume she comes in playoffs, which I think is almost even better in my mind. Because I think while I don't believe she's again, this is like
Let me just be clear. I don't even know if she is coming in.
Sure.
But I don't think she's coming in Countdown Cup because you don't release a hero and throw in a brand new fucking hero in the middle of the stage. That doesn't happen.
No,
that's never happened.
I'm under the assumption. Let me explain myself here. I'm under the assumption that the pros have probably play tested her. I think it's probably on whatever like tournament realm pre-patch, whatever the fuck you want to call it, behind the scenes, and they're like actively playing with her at the moment. And it'll just be locked to Owl before October 4th, and then everybody gets to play it, and everybody's happy. Poggers, we love that. That's another thing. I think that this character is going to be a crowd favorite instantaneously, obviously from the entire like aesthetic and whatnot, but even just from the play kit, she looks super fun, really enjoyable. Like I think this is another home run hit for the dev team. That said, I think that she is going to like help to reinforce a dive meta, and I think she probably takes Zen's spot as like the premier like backline support or backline flex support, which I think is just when Overwatch is at its best.
Can I be real though? I think Zen's ult is a little bit more applicable. Like Kiriko's ult seems almost purely aggressive. I mean, I guess you could run away with it too. Like, oh, let's run away with this ultimate, but that just kind of feels weird. Whereas, like, I think Zen's ult, you can be aggressive too. You can tempo trans, just rush in with that. I don't know. Yeah. We'll have to see. My final point of discussion on this is I'm just going to repeat something that Karku said. Thoughts after playing Kiriko at this creator summit: utility, survivability, fun. This is 3 main points. Yeah. Kunais were hard to land. Maybe I was just bad, lol. And the healing output was low, trying to sustain brawly tanks. Just guessing, but best paired with Bap Anna. We'll have to see. I actually think she could be a Brig replacement in a composition for dive. I also think she's dive. Why I think that is because targeted healing like Brig cookies and Harmony Orb very good for dive.
Yep.
She has a lot of damage to add into a dive, which I think is really good as well. Part of the reason why I don't think she replaces Zen is because Discord is too good in dive, man. Discord is how you set up dive targets and execute kills, right? Whereas, how does a hero like Kiriko actually help you set up a dive? Unless she's landing right clicks, which sounds like it's hard to do. You're not actually adding to your team. Whereas it's so easy to Discord somebody, and then your team just go for a Discorded target and get a kill. Like that's quintessential to dive. So I don't think Zen's leaving dive. If all possible, you keep Zen. You play Zen and Kiriko together, and you just replace Brig cookies with this Kiriko healing. That being said, the rally and the extra healing from Brig's AoE is pretty good, and her peel is definitely going to be better. But I don't know. I actually don't know. Maybe she gets played in double flex support Sigma.
Could be, yeah.
That could be a con because she's pretty spammable. She could be a BAP replacement. Legitimately, she could be a BAP replacement in that comp, in my opinion.
Does it matter how much she heals?
Huh?
Not really. I think that like Lucio, I think Brig in general. Like,
does it matter how much heal she actually does? You know.
Well, it does matter. You know what? You're right. It does matter because the other thing about BAP being really good is he has the instant. He has 2 oh shit buttons. The lamp is strong, but also the shift is currently on the Overwatch 2 game that we have because it's been buffed. It does that instant healing and the extra healing if you're low HP. That's like super strong, man. That shift ability on BAP.
Yeah.
The biggest weakness of Kiriko is definitely the healing output. It's from what we can tell, her healing output is slow and not a lot. So if you're trying to like sustain over a long fight, you're not gonna.
Yeah.
It's not gonna
definitely
do a lot
not.
for you.
She's
a bursty hero.
Yeah.
When I say bursty hero, I don't just mean burst damage. I mean burst in terms of here are strong individual cooldowns. We're gonna use them all very quickly and win a fight with these. But if a fight goes long and Kiriko is just sitting there waiting for cooldowns, you're probably gonna lose the fight.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I see.
Is there a world where we see? I think it's going to take some time just for people to get used to her. But is there a world where we see like Kiriko like play off angles aggressively and then use the wall teleport to like return to her teammates? Does that make sense?
Flanking support.
I mean, yeah, in a way, like you have 3 times damage, you have an invuln, right? You come in and you just assassinate somebody, you teleport back. Like,
you're not doing much healing at that point. You are literally playing a 3rd DPS.
Yeah,
but like I think part of I'm not gonna lie. I think the devs made her to entice DPS players to play support.
Yes, yes, 100%.
Yeah, I mean
because she is like the most DPS support that exists.
I feel like also like depending on how the bell works, you probably don't want to be too far away from your team, right? Or from the crucial.
I don't think it's like an extended period of time. I think it's just like a quick like little assassination attempt sometimes, and then sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and then it's like a play again. I think what she looks like she can do a lot of is playmake, and I think that's really cool. Right? You can start to foresee these instances where like you were talking about prior AVRL, like if Ana like nades your team and you can cleanse it, it's like, yeah, you can cleanse it, but like that's a big toolkit out of the way. You can kind of like engage with the invul. You can maybe go for assassinations. She's very dynamic, and I think that's really cool. I think Kiriko kind of says it best. Like fun seems to be like the impetus for this hero. She looks very fun. She looks very impactful. It might not just be like healing throughput, but but that's not what everybody wants. Everybody wants to like do damage, and everybody wants to play the FPS. And I think this is this FPS hero. This is the FPS support.
Which is why I think if you have a low healing hero and low healing comp, like Brig Zen is still a low healing comp.
Yep. For
all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
You have to play a dive because a dive is low resource.
Yeah.
Because everyone plays health packs. Everyone has their own sort of abilities to regain HP, like recall. People can play flanks and angles to avoid damage. So you can't play her in a composition that requires high sustain.
Yeah.
Like you are not going to see her in a Ryan comp. So despite all this talk about like, what are her interactions with Ryan? I don't think she gets to play with Ryan. I think that'd be a mistake. Ryan requires too much pocketing, right? If you have Kiriko in your team, don't expect to get pocketed. That's not how the game will work at all.
Yeah.
So that's that. Let's now talk about Season 1. We got Season 1 info. I think that was next on the list. So, play Overwatch. We got details on the release stuff from Season 1, and yes, we will be transitioning this topic into Battle Pass and all that kind of stuff as well. Joe's favorite topic as we talk about... just going to go through the list here. Personally, for me, this is like a pretty cool offering. Like, they're giving some real details now on like what the Overwatch 2 experience is going to be out the gate. Season 1 launch, October 4th. Sojourn and Jungle Queen, free Season 1 instant unlock. Now, there's a couple ways to read into that. Free Season 1 instant unlock is not the same as an evergreen unlock where the original heroes are all there. Because if you look down the bottom, it says all 32 original heroes. Right? Season 1 instant unlock says to me that if you don't play in Season 1, you are going to miss out on Sojourn and Jungle Queen. You're going to have to unlock them manually in future seasons, is what it says to me. Maybe I'm reading into that, but the specificity of the language dictates that to me. Because otherwise, why would you say free Season 1 unlock? Do you understand what I mean? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's particular wording for sure. And it definitely, like, makes you start to wonder, like, yeah, like you're saying, like, if you don't play now, am I going to have to come back later and unlock these with, like...
Because then you just say free unlock. Yeah. Why specify Season 1? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, is it a free... Yeah. So if you're specifying Season 1, you're specifying it's a free unlock versus a paid unlock. I don't know. It's just my interpretation is that if you don't play Overwatch 2 in Season 1 and you come in Season 2 or later, these two heroes you're going to have to manually unlock. But it is what it is. I mean, that's how free-to-play game works, and I don't particularly care for it. Kiriko, free for Overwatch 1 players. So she's part of the Founders Pack. So another benefit for Overwatch 1 players. Essentially, if you are an Overwatch 1 player and you play in Season 1, which lasts for 9 whole weeks, so you should be able to log in at least one time, you're going to get three heroes for free. Reimagined multiplayer experience. We already knew this stuff. 5v5, new maps, new push. This also, by the way, I believe includes Portugal, because what are the new maps? You have Colosseo, New Queen Street, Paraíso, Circuit Royale, Midtown. That's 5.
Mm-hmm.
Is Portugal the last one, or am I missing another map?
That would be my guess.
Is those 5 in Portugal, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Am I missing a map? Is there a control map I'm missing, or another escort I'm missing, or a hybrid I'm missing?
Eric is saying yes to Portugal.
So that's 6 then. Cool. Competitive 2.0, we're going to get into that as well. There's a bit more detail on that, I think, somewhere in the blog. Crossplay, cross progression, or knew about that. Limited time event, Junkenstein's Revenge, The Wrath of the Bride. Now, that is actually not the same Junkenstein's Revenge event. I don't know if it's hugely different, but it's different in the fact that, as we saw in the previews, you're playing 4 different heroes now. You're playing Sojourn, Kiriko, Junker Queen, and Ashe, I believe, the 4 different heroes. And the boss is, I guess, Sombra. There's also the Gargoyle Winston on there. I don't know. I'm just glad they're changing it up. They're keeping it fresh instead of just doing the same Junkensteins again.
It feels like Overwatch again. It feels like we're not sitting on our hands. It feels like we're getting updates. It feels we're getting content. It's a really good feeling.
It also says that we're not losing the stuff that we already had in Overwatch 1, which was the seasonal, Winter Wonderland, Archives, Halloween. We're getting that still. Overwatch 1 content. Cool. Yep. Knew we were getting that. Battle Pass. Play the game, earn free rewards. Kiriko confirmed as a Battle Pass hero, as all the new heroes will eventually be. 2 epic skins, 2 souvenirs. I don't actually know what a souvenir is, but it's some cosmetic. 1 weapon charm and 15 additional rewards. And then you have the premium stuff, which is you instantly get Kiriko, 20% season XP boost, which will definitely, I think, help out to finish the Battle Pass. Although, again, we're going to talk more about the Battle Pass. I'm pretty sure the Battle Pass is meant to be finished within a reasonable amount of time. You get the mythic Cyber Demon Genji skin, which is customizable. 5 other legendary skins, including the new Kiriko geisha doll looking kind of skin. 1 epic and 56 another additional rewards, plus weekly challenges for coins and bundles in store. We're going to talk about coins in depth in a little bit as well. A lot of teasing here, but this is the overall package. I'm pretty happy with that, personally.
For sure. I think there is, and I think we'll probably end up getting to it, a broader topic that I think is I think we're seeing a lot of people naturally react to, which I don't think is completely unfounded, but it is a bit shooting from the hip. And I think that partially comes from a few different reasons, but we can get into that.
Did you say what you were referring to, or were you just like outlining?
He's subtweeting. He's subtweeting.
Yeah, I'm subtweeting a further point down the line. I think this is really good. I think that we're moving in the right direction, and some of these changes that are maybe a little polarizing to the community are happening because of the state, like because of the absence of the game we have right now. Right, people don't have the game right now to be able to play and like kind of like see these ideas in motion consistently. So they're like, well, the game that I'm playing is Overwatch 1, and a lot of these things that you're saying don't work. So I'm big mad, and it just like it's going to be a learning process. It's going to be a little bit of a hump to get over, but I think all in all, like this is a massive success.
People are learning. People are going to have to learn what a free-to-play game is what they're going to have to learn.
Yeah, and it's not like it's not even in a predatory sense where it's like, if they did this with Overwatch 1, I think I'd have more of a problem with it. But the way and the design philosophy that they've vocally talked about, also looking at your tweet, AVRL, this is much less impactful than it would have been in 6v6. This is much less impactful this would have been.
My position is that this should have been Overwatch 1. This should have been Overwatch 1 from the start. They should have done all of this from Overwatch 1 from the start. And that comment's going to piss off people, but again, it's just like, our game is not one of the big games of the world, and all the big games in the world are free-to-play games. And I knew this shit fucking 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Because it was clear. At least it was clear to me. I don't know.
Maybe it wasn't.
I am the epitome of the I told you so guy, but anyway.
I'm not sure if it was, like, I feel like we were already pretty early on the loot boxes, right? Like, wasn't Overwatch one of the more early ones?
No, actually no, because you can consider, not even consider, you can just straight up recognize that CSGO and TF2 had loot boxes first.
Right, true. Yes, okay.
They to me, they invented and popularized that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Yeah. And our system was way less, inflammatory there. Yeah, I don't know. Like, the thing is, I think there's one point of legitimate criticism towards, and I think this is also where we need to differentiate between what actual incentive structures are and how a developer moves with them. So I think why you're saying this, why you want the battle pass, is because it incentivizes or gives a developer incentive to create more content in a very, regulated manner, because that makes them money. And that's
I would not use the word incentive. I think the word incentive is not the correct term here. I would use the word justification.
Right.
It's a financial justification for continued post-launch support. Not even content, support.
Right.
Now, content is part of support, but yes.
Now, I will say, Blizzard as a company has left some doubts on consumers of Blizzard products, where, for instance, I think the criticism of saying, well, WoW is filled with microtransactions and our content cycle is atrocious. I think there is something there. It's not a comparable situation by any means. Like, you're paying subscriptions for the server. Like, you still have the regular expansions coming out. Then you pay for some cosmetics, whatnot. Like, it's not like you're paying for the new content necessarily. You're paying for the new content with the expansion, right? So it's not the same. It's not the same justification or incentive structure, whatever you want to use. But I think, yes, like you cannot just produce, let's say, skins because they make you money and then not do anything else, right? And that is also
Well,
why I feel like from a point of incentive structure, saying we put heroes behind a limited paywall, and even if it's not a paywall, because you can get it through fair means, it's an incentive mechanism whereby like the developer, especially like the suits, can be convinced as to create more and more heroes. And I think that is the content in Overwatch. Like Overwatch PvP, the content is heroes, right? So to give it, a justification, to justify to a development cycle, to justify whoever, says, okay, go ahead with that development plan and whatnot, to make the business case, all of that is not bad. And I always said, like, I start believing in Overwatch 2 when I see a monetization structure that I can believe in creates good incentives for developers to go forward. Now, I think what I'm definitely missing is everything outside the Battle Pass. Right? Like right now it feels like all of the products that we're getting are somehow on the Battle Pass. We don't know what skins outside the Battle Pass will look like. And most of the content in other
probably
games,
better ones.
Right. And already I got it. I feel like everyone is super big mad. Look at the quality of those skins on the Battle Pass, dude. That is not normal. That's like, even if you play competitors, like, you're not getting skins like this in Apex that you're getting with the Mythic skin on Genji. It's just, like, you have some skins that are extraordinary. You also have them in Warzone, not to that extent. I think that's a new level.
I mean, most games, by the way, we're going to officially dive into the topic now because we're already there. I will bring up some of the stuff from the blog posts surrounding this, but we're just going to get straight into the whole paywall situation. Let's just get into that topic properly. This is, in my honest opinion, having played, looked at, been a part of all sorts of free-to-play games, all of the most popular games in the world out there in English. This Overwatch 2 Battle Pass is probably one of, if not the friendliest Battle Pass that we have. Yes, even including the Hero paywall. Why? Because the fact that the Hero paywall exists within the Battle Pass itself increases the value of the Battle Pass. For $10, you're getting a gigantic Battle Pass with very high quality cosmetics in there, compared to other games where, first of all, they will not include the new hero or champion within the Battle Pass. You have to get that separately. That's a separate cost entirely.
Yes.
Either a separate grind or a separate cost entirely. So you have to buy that on top of the Battle Pass. Secondly, as Yiska is saying, the quality of skins in most other Battle Passes, especially in a game like Valorant, I'm not going to lie, man, the skins in the Valorant Battle Pass compared to the skins you actually buy in the shop, it's night and day. And it is not comparable. The Battle Pass skins are fucking shit compared to the paid skins. They're fine in a vacuum, but when you look at like the actual paid skins, you're like, wow, that's a gigantic gulf of a gap in terms of quality. Whereas we look at, you can see the skin quality in this Battle Pass is very fucking high. You get some insane legendaries in that, some really good ones, and then the mythic at the end as well, which is wild. There's a couple of different ways to approach this conversation. There's the real conceptual, theoretical conversation about the hero paywalling and whether morally it's a justified thing or a correct thing to do. And then there's a more literal way of talking about it. That's a bit more grounded, and I think both are probably worth discussing. So let's break down what the root of the controversy is, why people have a problem with it, and then we can talk about, is that a real problem that matters or not? Spoiler, I don't particularly think it's a big deal. Just to preface it. But the problem is, yes, it does set a bad precedent because you are now having what is considered to be the most important content in the game. Most people would agree the most important content in the game is the heroes being paywalled, whereas previously that was free. So from the raw vacuum approach of Is this better or worse than what we currently have in Overwatch 1? Yeah, it's worse. It is worse. Everyone will tell you it's worse. Right? No one's lying about it. No one's trying to hide it. It is just straight up worse. It really is, right? No one disagrees. The problem is, I don't think you can use the argument of like, well, is it better or worse than Overwatch? Therefore, do I like it or not? I think that's not a fair argument to make because Overwatch 2 is not Overwatch 1. As stupidly obvious as that sounds, and there's a further point there. Because people are also bringing up like, oh man, like look at this interview in 2015 from Jeff Kaplan or even Aaron Keller about how they're saying like, well, we are not going to charge for heroes because that's not the vision of Overwatch, blah 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 blah. And they're like, see, they lied. Jeff and Aaron, they lied to us. Now they're charging us for heroes. First of all, you can get the new heroes for free. So I'm just going to be pedantic there. Second of all, it's a different vision now. The vision changes. Like the game changes. I don't know that you can look at like a super old clip of a specific philosophy back then and still apply it now and have that be relevant when the game and the financial model and the industry, for what it's worth, has rapidly changed in 6 years. Right? I think we're now in the sort of space where free to play is so much more dominant. Free to play is so much more of a deal, and it's also a lot more solved in terms of a financial model, a lot more solved than it was 6 years ago. When you look at all the successful free to play games, and they really are the biggest games in the world, by the way, like they've really figured it out in terms of what success looks like for a live service game. So things are going to evolve, and I think you can't like just continually hold on to and grip with an iron fist this like notion of an outdated model and an outdated philosophy that was uttered on a video 6 years ago. Just, if that makes sense. And I know some people are going to die on that hill, but to me, it's just like not the correct hill to die on.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of touch on the points that were subtweeting a little bit when it came to like the design philosophy. It's like I understand that the perception of the game is still that like, oh, I can hard counter and we want to hard counter this and this, that, the other thing. That wasn't the case most of the time for the lion's share of the player base, and B, that like has shifted so drastically in Overwatch 2 that like you really don't have a leg to stand on anymore if you try to argue that way. Yes, theoretically, in a weird, fucked up flipper baby world, maybe there is a hero designed that is locked behind a very loose battle pass that is too good and answers too many questions. Again, that's something that we can address when that happens. We can't necessarily have arguments on like, well, what if? We have to kind of take it as it is, right? And with the game and what they've said thus far, that we've seen, that we've played, that we've watched the Overwatch League kind of dish out, I don't see this hard counter, I have to play this hero. Maybe Junker Queen's a good example as to like, oh, well, what happens if, Junker Queen's locked? I hate to say this, and I know that this is like a hot take for like most players in Overwatch, most of the general audience. I don't know that Junker Queen is losing you games more so than other things that you could be doing. Now, that's not how the game feels. It feels like, oh, well, this is the meta. And, if I don't play the meta, then I'm losing.
Listen, if you suck, changing a Junker Queen is not going to win you the game.
No, and that's not that's not a good argument to try to like leverage against people, but it's the truth, right? This is not a game that like people are swapping heroes. This is not a game where like counter comps are a thing outside of like maybe the Overwatch League, right? I genuinely don't believe that, especially even more so within Overwatch 2. So I really
but
don't
Joe,
see
I
this
swapped
being
a
an
hit
issue.
scan when there's a fire. I'm clearly countering.
And that's great. I think that like if that's the perception that people have and they feel like they're actively countering something, that's awesome because the game gives you the tools to do that, right? There's nothing thus far that we've created, that the devs have created, that is uncounterable with the tool set given to you in the base game, right? Think of this as like a card game, right? You can buy the starter pack of this card game and get all the tools you'll need to play the game. Anything more is helpful, is useful, is utility. Outside of that, it doesn't matter. This is not going to reflect in your win-loss record. I'm gonna put my hands up just in case, something happens and this is all bunked. But I don't believe that this is going to affect the average player base the way that they think it is. I think this is a natural reaction due to them not being able to play the game and kind of come to these conclusions on their own. Not to say that they would all, but I think that this is just because we're in a holding pattern, because we're waiting for the game to come out. People are still just reacting with Overwatch 1 in mind because that's the game that they have in front of them.
It's just so hyperbolic. My problem with the argument that people are having is that I feel like they're not having the argument the right way. I know what the argument is, but it takes a lot of digging to get to the real argument and get past the bullshit first, because there's a lot of bullshit in there.
Yeah.
And the bullshit I'm talking about is talking about stuff like people creating such weird strawmans in their argument, like, oh, but like, what if there was no hit scans? How would you counter fire? I'm like, bitch, there are hit scans. Like, you're talking about a situation that's not even realistic.
Yeah.
Like, I would follow this example if it wasn't complete bullshit, because they're not removing hit scans from the game.
Yeah.
Right? There's a shitload of hit scans in the game and they're not getting fucking removed. So using that as an example is ridiculous. People saying like, yeah, but what if Brig was in the game? Motherfucker, Brig is in the game. She's not going anywhere. Such a silly example. And I get what they're trying to say. They're trying to say is like, what if there's a hypothetical world where there is a new thing that gets introduced from a hero and it requires an extremely tailored response from a different new hero, and only that new hero could deal with the other new hero. That's what they're really trying to say. No one's actually using those words because they don't know how to have an argument, how to present a point, but that's the actual thing they're trying to say. And my response to that, my reaction to that information, is that I also think that's just hyperbolic and ridiculous, because I don't think that's like a realistic scenario. There's no precedent where that's ever happened. I don't think we've ever had a true precedent where like that's a major thing. People will bring up like, yeah, but what about Tracer and Brig? I think that's an antiquity in discussion, because that's also no longer relevant given that the positions of those heroes have been vastly changed. And I think if we ever even accidentally got to a place where that was a considerable factor, like something so OP that only another OP thing from a different new release could beat it, we've seriously failed as a game at that point. And people will use this kind of like weird position of like, well, you can't trust Blizzard and you can't trust the development team, blah 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 blah. It's such a strange. If you're at that stage, like, I don't even know how to have a conversation with you, because like. It's like when I don't know, if you're just going to assume incompetence, then there's like no argument to be had, because no counterpoint, no matter how good that gets brought up, will be able to change your mind, because in your mind it's already failed and it's already incompetent, and it will always be incompetent, and it's like by default incompetent. And so you've checkmated the argument, but in the dumbest way possible, where like there's no benefit to even having a discussion, because you can't imagine benefit of the doubt, even though in my opinion there's been no real precedent set where, like, especially in recent development, I don't want to talk about Overwatch 1 anymore because Jeff's off the team, and in some ways I think that's a good move. People are like, oh, I can finally see why Jeff's off the team. I'm like, yeah, same, and that was a good move, thank you, I'm glad he left. Yeah, so I don't know. There's some wild strawmans that are people building for this, and they're super hyperbolic. I wish the arguments were at least a little bit more tempered and realistic, because I could see a scenario where that fear exists, but it's such a conceptual fear. Yes. It's such a like a theoretical fear. It's like, it's almost like, well, what if the aliens come and blow up the Earth? What if that happens? It's such a conceptual. It's such a conceptual fear. Like, what?
What this feels like?
What?
This feels like the same kind of like argument skeleton that we had even within like our own community. I think that the paywall stuff reaches like the other half of the pond, talking about like the general player base, like even more so. But just within our own little bubble, within the Overwatch League or the competitive Overwatch scene, I feel like the skeleton structure has been established within like the role lock stuff pretty heavily, where like there were like some flexibility truthers that were like, no, you can't limit the roles. You try to stifle creativity. You stifle this, blah, 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 blah. and it's completely just adjunct and creative and just like theoretical rather. It just like isn't based in like where we sit in the at the time, right? We're going through the goats meta. We can't have this happen again. It is literally the one of the biggest problems for the average viewer. And the only way, sadly, that Blizzard can come up to remove it is if we just limit the game to what it's probably best seen as anyways, right? When you go into ranked, you probably have this anyways, most of the time. Most of the Overwatch metas, most of the time, we're also 2-2-2, right? Like the role lock conversation was just so much like fear and oh my god, I hate change and this, that, the other thing that you go into the theoretical, like, well, what happens if we get like a triple or quadruple DPS meta and the game's actually better? What happens then? It's like, well, yeah, we'd be losing out on that, but we'd also not kill ourselves, right? We wouldn't just remove like the biggest problem to this game. Like we would be shooting ourselves in the foot if we didn't stop goats, right? Like it would be such a detriment to just like leave that in the game or leave that possibility open, right? It's impossible. You can't
be
do that.
stifled by theory. I think that's just such a weird place to get stifled by, because it's also like infinite, you know. It's like at some level, it's just like, you know, what if a solar flare occurs and it just fucking scorches the earth? That could literally happen at any point.
Dang, that's
what if a rogue asteroid just hit us? I'm like, yeah, dude, like any number of infinite things can fucking happen. It's like, what if this thing in the game, and what if we created this hero? What if that? It's like, getting caught up on infinite theories is just like,
it's counterproductive.
There's no winning. It's just a pointless thing to think about, and I think not grounded in reality at all. Because we're at the sort of stage now where the Overwatch team is at its most competent it's ever been. They are the fastest they've ever been in terms of responding to things that need to be fixed. And when I say that, I know people are going to be like, yeah, but what about all the bugs in the beta? It's like, yeah, don't worry. That's why it's a beta. Things are still moving along. When we talk about problematic metas and problematic heroes and balance changes that need to happen, those things have been responded to far quicker than any other time I've seen in Overwatch development history. People might not see that because obviously they don't have the same access to developer feedback that I've seen. And people will bring up jokes, and it's like, okay, cool. Well, you know, the difference there is like they responded quickly to that, but you also can't drop a meta-defining patch in the middle of a stage where games have already been played. That there's competitive integrity issues there. So it's not like they just ignored jokes for the entire summer showdown. They couldn't apply a patch in the middle of the show. We had to play the full stage because we already started on the stage. Like, that's a different story.
Based.
Yep.
And despite hating the stage, well, I didn't hate the stage. Despite hating the meta, I had to come to terms with the fact that we just had to play through it because it's just how it needs to be for competitive integrity. And I also think people just overrate hero swapping. People like the whole SVB thread on Twitter was like super true, and people will still get caught up in theory again. People are like they are stifled by the theory. It's like, yeah, but in theory, you would hero swap to a counter in theory. And it's just like, but that's not reality.
The game that people play. That's not even the game that most pros play. Like, yeah, would I like that? 100%. I think the game's really cool when you can have like these interesting swaps to like give you minor advantages. I think like maybe we could get to that point. But with the development track that we're on right now, I don't think that'll ever happen. And that's okay.
We're not even in a rock, paper, scissors game.
No.
People, for some reason, talk about swaps and counters like we are literally playing rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
And that's not the game we're in. Like,
here's the truth. Here's the truth bump. And I hope we get it fixed soon. But people for themselves have an idea of rock, paper, scissors. If they play rock, paper, scissors against the ideas of another person, they will realize some have rocket launches in there and some have like, I don't know, paper boats or whatever. Like, nobody has the same idea of what counters what because there are no hard counters like this. And why is that? Because this game gives bad feedback on what works on a personal level and on a team level, right? People like... the best feedback loops are: I do something, the game slaps me in the face and tells me you're stupid for doing that, please improve. I go try the next thing, slap, next thing, oh, no slap, nice, keep going. That's not how Overwatch works most of the time. It is, oh, I did a good thing, but the 5 or 4 other people in my team did a bad thing. Slap, oh, I actually don't know, like, I suppose, like, that was bad? Like, you need, and also, like, I mean, what kind of feedback system do you have? Gold medals.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, that's not, you know, how the feedback loop should work. So, I think this is the breeding ground for those ideas that people think they have figured the game out, have ideas on what they can do in XYZ situation. It's not at all applicable. And honestly, to a degree, I don't believe them that they actually practice those things. Now, do I think they're insincere when they demonstrate those opinions or try to field them as arguments? For some. I think for many, it's just like such a subconscious thing how they actually play the game, and it probably is way overrepresented how often they actually switch the hero. I think a way more prevalent idea is like, yeah, I'm a switch, but like let me use that ultimate.
Yes.
Right?
100%.
So I don't know. Like if you actually looked at the playtime, looked at the situations where the player has accurately understood what needs to be done in order to the composition, and also uses the new hero in a correct way that actually applies the counter, fraction of a percentage actually happening in real games. And if we could communicate that somehow to the player base, I think we would see less backlash to that situation. In practice, I think, unfortunately.
Whereas at the highest level, I think hero swapping is important. Because here's the thing: is like people were like, "Oh, AVRL thinks hero swapping isn't important. Is he stupid?" It's like, do you not understand context? It's like the context is important, people. It's hero swapping. It makes no fucking difference. Well, it doesn't make no. It makes extreme low difference at a low level, because at a low level, at a casual level, you can play whatever the hell you want. Even in a negative matchup, you can just win that because of skill difference or some other difference, or somebody on your team can do something cool, or the other team is just dumb. Like anything can happen. At a pro level, minute differences make a big difference, and so playing the right comp becomes extremely important. And the difference of whether you have people like, didn't he see the Dallas Fuel game where Edison swapped to Sojourn? It's like, yeah, I do actually get paid to watch the Overwatch League, by the fucking way, in case you didn't notice. So yes, I did see it, but that's not, again, we're not talking about the same fucking thing. We're arguing different points here.
There's a bell curved meme in the making, which is basically like low IQ dude going like, play what you're best at. Like midwit is like, no, you got a counter pick, and then high skill person is like, play what you're best at. You know, like that's practically like how the
But even the point I'll get to is like, because I'm about to, it sounds like I'm contradicting myself, because I'm saying hero swapping is not important, but then I'm also saying it is important in the high level, but I'm also now about to say it's not important in the high level. And the reason for that is because at the very, very highest level, the standard practice thing to do is to not counterpick and to just play mirror. You just fucking mirror the opponents. You play the same shit they're playing, because that's the easiest thing to do. The easiest solution is to mirror this is why we see so many mirror comps in the Overwatch League in the high level. It is far easier to mirror the other team than to try and play quote unquote counters.
You know how
at the level where counters are the most impactful, people still don't fucking use counters. They'd rather mirror comps.
You know how awful Overwatch would play if you actually had hard counters? Because what would happen is, rock, paper, scissors, first fight, whatever the defense picked and the attack picks into, or rather the attack scouts, picks the hard counter, wins the first attack, the defense switches, we don't know if the attack can switch, but basically, like, every fight that people would just, like, switch into the counter comps, it's just like rock, paper, scissors. Like, come on, that's not.
I can give you the most raw example that happening, and I think 99% of people didn't see this because they don't watch contenders. It doesn't. I mean, I don't blame you, but at the same time, you know, you missed out on this, and maybe it's fine that you missed out on this, but I'll just bring it up. I have to explain this properly now. We had, I think, the most clear-cut case of a rock paper scissors scenario, not in a full comp, just in individual hero picks, that I think I've ever seen in my 6 years of casting this game, and that is the whole Pharah broken ult charge scenario that was in the Contenders A sides patch, which resulted in a lot higher Pharah game time than she should have had. And here was the direct rock paper scissors. There were even 3 heroes. I could even fucking attach a specific hero to rock, to paper, and to scissors. Right. So let's discuss it right now. Rock is Genji. Paper is Pharah, and scissors is Echo. Boom. And that is exactly what we had. So here's a scenario for you. Teams will play Pharah because nothing on the Jotes team can do much except maybe the Sojin can shoot the Pharah, but that's probably fine. They don't give a fuck about that. And the Pharah builds ult way too quickly because of a bug. Cool, people play Pharah. What is the response? The other team's Genji goes Echo because Echo hard counters Pharah. Well, I say hard counters. There's a very, very favorable, extremely favorable matchup to Pharah. And then the response is the Pharah then swaps to Genji, which then invalidates the Echo because the Echo doesn't do the important things that you need in Joe's composition that a Genji would do. And then if the Genji player really wants after, they can go back to Pharah if they want to just be tricky about it. That is a literal rock paper scissors scenario, as clear cut as I've ever seen it and will ever see it, and I hopefully will never see it again. And to me, it's just that's not strategic depth, because the other thing I see, and people hide behind this notion that's really annoying as well. It's like, oh yeah, but you know, if we don't have hard counters, then there's no strategy. You don't have the strategy.
That's just
how is a scenario where like, oh, you have rock, I will go paper. How the fuck is that strategic?
Yeah.
Where is the strategy? If you truly believe that was strategic, then your favorite sport in the world is competitive rock paper scissors. You would literally watch ESPN rock paper scissors. They don't have it on that channel, but you know what I mean. There's like real competitive rock paper scissors. That would be your favorite sport. There's no strategic depth there, because it's the most flowchart thing in the world, where it's just like literally you have rock, I have paper, that's it. And now you go scissors. How the fuck is that strategic depth? That's not strategic depth. That's basic. That's like that's fucking 1 + 1. That's not. There's no depth involved at all. That's the lowest amount of depth that you could possibly imagine. That's boring as fuck.
Yeah.
Who's arguing in favor of that? That's ridiculous. So yeah, but I don't even think that's a healthy thing to have. I had a whole fucking Twitter thread recently today about that kind of scenario. I'm like, I'm glad we're moving away from that, because that was something that got mentioned in the blog post, which I haven't even quoted yet. We're supposed to be quoting the blog post, but you by the way, remember I just brought up the Echo Fire situation. That's actually an example no one's talked about, because the rudimentary understanding of counter picking and hero swapping is so basic within the standard Overwatch community that people legitimately think they bring it up all the time. They're like, yeah, what if there was no hit scan for Fire? Well, you got to play the hit scan for Fire. Hey, you DPS player, go Cassidy versus Fire. And then the scenario that you end up seeing is this one poor Cassidy player who gets peer pressured and bullied into playing a hero that he might not even want to play, has to go up against a Fire Mercy duo as a sole single player, has to take down 2 fucking players, obviously is not going to be able to do it, and then gets flamed by his team. It's like, how, Cassidy, your job is to kill the Fire. How come you haven't killed the Fire yet? Because it's fucking impossible. Like, people's understanding of like how counters work is so fucking basic. They don't even bring up Echo. Like, how come no one brings up Echo when they talk about countering Fire? How come everyone just talks about hit scans? It's like, you know, people are like so bad at the game, they don't even like, they're not even good enough to play the Echo to counter the Fire. They don't even realize that the real counter to Fire is Echo. So they still talk about shit like Cassidy instead. They're so far behind in their actual understanding of what counters are that they're like using the wrong examples and they're talking about counters.
Based.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
Oh no, AVRL's ranting again. Time to turn off the podcast. Where?
Yeah, dude.
I mean, it's such a hard conversation to have, because nobody wants to hear that like the ranked or casual experience is just so divorced from like the perception of it, right? The perception of Overwatch is that like, oh, it's this really fluid game where it's like a sandbox. Like you can there's answers to everything, and like you can really like play with all the tools, and like they all have like plus and minus matchups versus everybody else. In reality, if you're not playing at the top level, yeah, you're probably better off just playing what you're good at and just playing mass games and like just getting good, right? But that's not fun. Everybody wants to think about like, oh, like I think that the Ryan and the Zarya matchup's actually a 50-40 because of this. And you kind of get yourself into this web of like thinking that the game or most games are harder than they need to be. And that's fun. When in reality, that's not the game you're playing. That's the game you're thinking about.
Yeah.
So what's fun for you is to play the simple game where you play Kiriko for 100 games straight and you have a good time and you've loved that. But then you go on Twitter and you talk about how Kiriko's actually broken and she needs to be nerfed and how she has no answers and there's no counterplay and using all this jargon when in reality, that's not the game you're playing. That's the game you're thinking of.
And to be fair, I think there is something there when you're saying that, when you're perceiving the game to be that, and there's a critical mass of people that believe that it is that way.
Correct.
I think that can be addressed from a game design perspective. But our argument is the means by which you want to do that is not that. Like you're mad at a thing that doesn't exist. Like you...
Or you're mad at a thing that is like, it kind of exists, but it's nowhere near as serious or as like hyperbolic as you make it out to be, because everyone's been crazily hyperbolic about it.
And like, it's windmills, but it might also not be your fault in how the game... how the game tells you it's windmills.
Yeah.
Right? So, like,
sure.
I think this is probably, like, if you're a developer, I think that should probably what you should be reading from this is like, there seems to be an underlying dissatisfaction with what perceived reality is being changed about the game that's actually not bearing out in data anywhere. I'm sure, like, I mean, just assume that a team of developers will move based on data, right? They have all the data. They look at like how many switches happen per map, how much does the average player switch, in what situation, blah, blah, blah. And they make informed decisions based on that. They're not necessarily trying to re-educate you. That would be suicide in terms of like game development, right? They have the data. Now, it's also their job to make you feel that they're making good decisions. Part of that is communication and framing. Part of that is giving you a better feedback understanding of how the game functions. Also at your level, not just at the highest level. I think like saying like learn to play is not a satisfying answer for most players. So the alternative is like, here is a more accurate situation. Here you can derive your dopamine farms from, like, here's a new location for the dopamine mines. Go there, right? And if we manage that, that's an answer of the game development. And by the way, I think they also deserve criticism for the lack of good shepherding there. And I think there's the way all of this came out, the way like at what point it came out, how it was phrased, it's suboptimal, could have been done more elegantly, and I hope they reiterate on that. All right.
Yeah, I think we're in a weird agreement there that this is just a big mad like until we get it, and then I think in like 2 months that nobody has this discussion ever again. It's like a 5v5. It's like a roll lock. It's like, well, what about the tank synergy? What about all the things that we had that we felt comfortable with because our brains are wired to be comfortable and not necessarily progress because we're.
I love it when my tanks are Hog and Zarya, and all the tank synergy is just so beautiful to watch.
Yeah, progress tank synergy. It's this sounds a lot like, and I really haven't had a discussion with anybody that I feel like isn't just arguing from a point of I don't like the change. This is a change I don't like. Look at all these reasons I'm making up to try to sway your opinion, which again, some of them are based in like a theoretical possible world, right? Like, I agree. There is some concern when you lock tools behind a wall, but there is no precedent, to Avril's point. There is no precedent that we've seen to like for that to really happen for the majority of players.
Tank synergy, by the way, is part of the issue of 6v6 in the first place. People talk about it like it's like a good thing in 6v6. It's actually a downside of 6v6. From a design perspective, it creates a lot of balance problems. Because the problem with tanks in Overwatch in general is they support and increase each other's power by a lot based on how the synergy works. So if two players play two synergistic tanks that work well together, like Ryan Zarya, everyone knows Ryan Zarya, and they play that to a very high level of synergy, and they talk to each other and communicate, and they're very coordinated, it creates fucking crazy situations where tanks are incredibly strong.
Yeah.
But the opposite is so true, where if two players play very divided and two tanks that don't work with each other at all, like a Diva and a Hog, it's complete. The quality of the tanks and the value that they bring to the table is so incredibly low. Tanks, when they play together well, they're actually too strong, because the ability overlap and like the synergy overlap creates such an incredibly powerful situation that like, I wouldn't say it breaks the game, but it's more powerful than any other two heroes combined in the other roles. Like, you don't get the same situation when two DPSs or two supports synergize together. Like, sure, they do synergize. Like, we can talk it to death about which two DPSs and which two supports synergize. That's great. But no combination of those heroes and those other roles bring as much like insane value to the team as two tanks that synergize exceptionally well. That's wild. And the difference between that and not having that makes or breaks games. And that's why tanks in 6v6, which ones get locked in the hero screen, probably do actually impact results more than anything else. Because a team that actually locks in a Ryan Zarya versus a team that locks in Hog Diva, you can fucking call the game right there, right? Because how ridiculous the difference in synergy is. Whereas different DPS and different support lock-ins and that synergy difference, you know, where the peak and the valley is, it's not that different. Well, there's a gap in there, but it's not as ridiculous as the gap between two synergistic tanks versus two non-synergistic tanks. The point I'm trying to get to is, it's too hard to balance tanks in a way where you can reduce that gap efficiently.
Yeah.
Right? And people say, like, why don't you just like make it so that only one shield can be deployed at a time, then the other. It's too convoluted.
It's convoluted.
Too confusing. Too confusing. Too convoluted. Too fucking complex for a normal player that just wants to fucking get on Overwatch after work to play. No one wants to think about that shit. Okay, that's too much.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
And I will say, I still, despite absolutely recognizing all of that is true, I still empathize, especially with the high-level players that have synergized with a tank mate and had that experience. And in a game where probably DPS input is often overvalued, they still had that synergistic moment of like, oh my god, we just like make magic happen. And I think,
yes,
I have no problem with you expressing this like sorrow about having lost that. That's completely fine.
Yep. And there are people where like they probably feel like their specific counterpick, like, oh, I went Widowmaker and I did kill them. I did kill the fire. So how can you be telling me the hero swaps don't matter when in my silver game I went Widowmaker and I killed the fire? Clearly that means counterpicking works. Yes. In some cases you are right. It did work. Congratulations, it worked for you.
You are playing the game the right way. Everybody else is not.
But this is the thing, is like we're talking about the game in two different ways. How is the game actually being played?
Yes.
And how is the game in theory, in a conceptual level, you know, how could it be played at a conceptual level to its peak? Those are two separate things. And if we only talk about the game and only think about the game and only balance around the game from a conceptual peak, I don't think that's just, you're literally like talking about like a very minute thing happening, and that's not the average experience of the average player. So the average player does not experience tank synergy. Sorry, it is a myth for basically everyone. You and your buddy who queue together after school, congrats, you have tank synergy. 99.9% of other players don't. That's the reality. They don't.
And
Because
it sucks.
there's an insta-lock hog who's not in fucking team chat and who spends the whole game flanking. That's the average Overwatch experience.
Yeah, and it sucks that like people have to like ruin some of the fun that like a very select group has. But sadly, that's kind of the way of the world. And if it creates a healthier environment for 99% of the player base, that's probably for the best move, right? Yeah, you may have a little less fun, but even if you play by yourself, like, yay, my friend's sick, I have to go solo queue now. It's like, yeah, most of my games are going to be a little bit more healthier, right?
Most people are going to have more fun when the game is built around the average experiences. This is where I'm going to actually quote the thing now. So my entire tweet thread and what Avast said as well. Here we go. New heroes. With the launch of Overwatch 2, we're finally moving on, guys. I'm sorry that took a while. Despite everyone inputting in that discussion, people will only target me for the rants, but that's fine. I'll be the Batman here. I'll be the hero that we need. With the launch of Overwatch 2, our roster will expand to 35 heroes as Sojourn, Jungle Queen, and Kiriko join the fight. As we build new heroes and balance the existing cast for our 5v5 PvP experience, we have shifted our hero design approach to allow you to have an impact on your matches with a range of different heroes and strategies. This means reducing the presence of specific hard counters to heroes. I repeat myself, this is very important. This means reducing the presence of specific hard counters to heroes. And before I go on in the blog post, we are already seeing that through specific changes and nerfs. For example, Cassie losing Flashbang, Brig losing Stun on the Shield Bash. That specifically now doesn't counter heroes like, or at least reduces their level of counter towards heroes like Tracer and Genji specifically, right? And I think that's good for the game, even though people will complain that it makes Tracer and Genji good. I still don't see. Well, I mean, Genji's been great this year. Don't get me wrong, but like,
True.
I don't think those heroes are out of control. Even the best Genjis in the world, they're not out of control. Anyway, continuing on. For example, in the original Overwatch, especially at higher skill levels, the strongest way to shut down an enemy Tracer diving to your support line was to swap over to Cassidy. If that Cassidy play was effective enough, the Tracer could even feel a need to switch themselves to avoid that hard counter. While Overwatch 2 heroes will have their own clear strengths and weaknesses, and some heroes will be more effective against others, we believe our game plays better and is more fun with fewer hard counters and a broader range of effective hero picks. A further benefit is having your personal favorite heroes be viable more often. That philosophy will be guiding us moving forward. So fucking based.
Very based.
That is truly the game that I would rather have. That's insane. Like, and in fact, I had an entire Twitter thread, like almost 10 tweets. I didn't count, a lot of tweets about this topic specifically, where it's like, we need to be building a design philosophy around the game that is actually being played by our players, and not the theoretical ideal game that people think they are playing when they're not, or that like an exceptionally low number of people that are actually playing it, right? I think we need a game where more heroes are viable. When there's less hard countering in the game, that means more heroes are generally viable, because you can just make more heroes work, and that increases the viability of niche heroes like Torb and Symmetra. Like, I would love for there to be a world where Torb and Symmetra didn't feel like throw picks. I'm sure the Torb and Sim mains would fucking love that world, because I'm sure they are sick of being targeted by the community for potentially throwing a game because they liked the wrong hero. Most of our player base are one tricks, or if they're not one tricks, they only play like 2 or 3 heroes, because learning multiple heroes in Overwatch is fucking hard. This is not like another FPS game where the characters are a lot more aligned in the gameplay, right? And it's not like Rainbow Six where you're generally doing the same thing but with different sort of gadgets. Different heroes have vastly different play styles, and we're going to get to the part where people are saying like, well, hero swaps are important because the heroes blah 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 do that. But I'm now arguing with the opposite side, where it's like it's lessened because the removal of hard counters, right? Overwatch 2 has so few hard counter. I don't think there's a single hard counter except for maybe Echo still demolishing Pharah in most matchups. But that's still not even impossible for Pharah. Like, if you're in a great Pharah, you can still win that matchup. It's just a little bit more difficult. You want to create a game where like there's more compositional variety. I want to see more Chengdus and more Florida Mayhems where they have their own specific answer and read on the meta, and they don't have to meta slave because they can play to their player strengths. We have a specific hero specialist like Jimmu who can play X or Y or Z hero who's really good at that hero. We can try and force that strategy because we're good at that, and we don't have to be meta slaves because unless you play heroes 1 through to 5 you're just fucking throwing because you must play these heroes. The game is way healthier when we're not currently in a mirror match. And the one criticism I think I actually kind of agree with, even though I don't think the nuance is there when they argue this point. I can see the baseline values. And, a lot of the casual audience who have criticism about the Overwatch League, it's like the Overwatch esports, is like, I find it hard to watch because it's boring because it's all mirror matches. I'm like, you're dumb, but also I kind of see your point. I do see your point a little bit. I can actually kind of empathize with that because I also don't really enjoy mirror matchups. I would prefer if they were less mirrored. And when I say less mirrored, even just one hero being different, even if it's like, one team has an Ashe, one team has an Sojourn, like even that kind of change up works.
Nothing. Yeah.
Just something. So, but I would like to see completely different playstyle. My favorite matchups happened last year in 2021 when we have hard dive versus hard brawl and how the teams interacted there and tried to like work against each other. They have very different win conditions. And so how the interaction works in that matchup is really good to see. It's like getting to watch Terran versus Zerg instead of Terran, Zerg, and Protoss all the time. The matchup and how they win is very different. And exploring that difference is a much better viewing experience. And it's a better playing experience because, people who are one-tricking can be demonized a lot less. And if you're good at something, you can just make it work. I would much prefer that game. And actually, to me, is a far more strategic game than rock, paper, scissors, because now your viability increases, your creativity increases in terms of what is your answer to a problem in the game. The problem being produced in the game is, here is a specific hero or a composition from the other side that is causing problems. How do we solve that? What is our way to solve that? It's not just, pick paper when they have rock or just mirror them. It's, we have a lot of options now. What are we good at? What are our different options? What are our soft counters? And how do we build the comp that can actually deal with that? That's to me real strategic depth. That's what strategic depth actually means. Not just picking paper when the other team is rock.
Yeah. Agreed.
And if that's what we're looking for, then we need to make that known. And maybe that's something that we see. Pay, or how do I say this? Like voted with eyes and paychecks or wallets rather, right? Like when we're buying the battle passes, when we're tuning into the Overwatch League, when it is that or when it isn't that, right? Because I think the argument that I think most people are trying to get to eventually, or maybe not the argument, but like the world that they see for this game is like this inevitable like draft phase where like you're drafting a pool of heroes that you have to like swap to, and if I don't have the tools, then like I can't play it. And like again, that's just so theoretical and so far in the future that like we can't argue with something that like is just so ethereal. I think AVRL, I think you had said it kind of best there, where it is just so like fluid and you can't really grab hold of it because then it just kind of slips through your fingers and it morphs into something else.
I'll just say it like I'll fucking say, people are gonna dislike this example. I don't care. Like every game does this. Okay, you play League of Legends right now, and League of Legends does still have counters. They're not. I don't think League of Legends has like hard counters anymore as well, which is good. But like, you're not gonna have full access to the entire 140 champion roster. You're not. If you're a new player, you have like fucking less than 20 champions out of a pool of 140. Yep. You're missing a lot, and you're missing a lot of the real meta shit as well. Guarantee you're missing a lot of the meta shit. Thankfully, at a casual level, once again, the meta doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter.
Tell people that and they freak out because they think they think it's funny how like casual players either don't care about meta or care way too much about it, even though it doesn't affect the meta.
And this is a broad gaming thing as well. This is not just an us thing, to be fair.
But yeah, like it's my overall point. If it's not a problem in those other games, it's not a problem here. And yes, people are going to instantly, they're going to clap back and be like, yeah, but heroes in Overwatch are more unique, and you even said that yourself. Yep, I did say that myself, and I do agree with that. But I don't see that as a major problem until, like, could it become, again, we're going to get into the etherealness of like, you know, of the theory here. And by the way, I saw one comment that was like, yeah, but what if in a year from now? So by the way, dude, in a year from now, we're only gonna have 3 more heroes. So you might want to add another 0 at the back of that. Your numbers are a little bit low there, guy. It's like, you know, it's like if someone was like, yeah, but what if in 2 years we invented time travel? You might want to increase that to more like 100 years or 1,000 years. I think you're playing with a little too little numbers here. Might want to increase that. So Yeah, let's okay, let's have it in 100 years. This game's not going to be alive in 100 years. But in 100 years, how many heroes are we going to get? I don't know. Fucking 300 heroes. And then now you only have 35 out of 335 heroes. Okay, I guess you have a point. But I would like to imagine well before we even get close to that, we're going to have efficient ways to deal with it. Because the reality is, and I've also had this explained to me, not that I needed explanation, but it's good hearing it from internals as well in terms of their perspective, is the reality of Overwatch 2 and the hero releases is if you own Overwatch 1, you're going to get every hero. If you do not have Overwatch 1 and you're a new player, but you do play in Season 1, you're going to have 34 out of 35 heroes. So unless you think Kiriko is like so omega giga busted, which she's not, I don't think anyone who's playtested her, including all the creators and everybody, thinks she's giga busted. By the way, they would tell you if it was, because they have a direct incentive to fucking want to tell you that because that generates content clicks. Right? They want to tell you Kiriko is fucking omega busted so that you click on their fucking video.
That's by the way, it's such a weird thing. It's like basically going to the the whole going to the doctor's thing, going like, point where it hurts, there, and your finger is broken. Like to say, basically, like, well, what if the new hero is broken and then I can't play the new broken hero? Well, the problem then isn't that you don't have the new broken hero. The problem is that the hero is broken, bro. Like it shouldn't be broken. That's the thing you should be mad at.
Which will then get fixed.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I'm telling you, like, first of all, she's not broken because all the people that have played her, no one's fucking saying she's broken, right?
Yeah,
and,
but
like, granted, maybe we haven't had enough gameplay yet, but you know.
Like AVRL, what happens when you have meta games like when Ana is played and the pros they don't understand how strong she is.
No, see, everyone gets mad at me when they think I'm being condescending, but no one ever has a go at Joe. Joe gets free passes all the time.
Yeah, he has glasses
I think
on.
it's funny, and I laugh at it. But like people go, man, AVRL, he's such a big ego, and I do. That's besides the point, though. That's we're not here to talk about that. I earned that shit. I worked hard for that shit. So you know, when you work hard in your life, you can also get yourself a nice big ego. You know, work a day in your life, you'll find out. I'm only kidding, or am I? So the point is, what is the point? The point is like, yeah, if like you said, Yiska, if the hero is broken, the problem is that the hero is broken. Not that you don't have the hero. But that being said, because here's the other thing, and this is where I'm like fully willing to empathize. I'm not saying there's no issue. I'm not saying that people like complaining have like nothing to complain about. I think there is something to complain about. I think there is a justification there, but there's a level of conducting the argument and conducting the campaign that doesn't need to get into hyperbolic, ultra theoretical territory that we can leave grounded. Here's a legitimate argument that even I will very, very strongly get behind, which is like, what if I just want to play the new hero and like I don't feel like paying money? What if I'm mega fucking poor? Let's imagine this. I'm extremely poor and I just can't afford to pay $10 every however long, 9 weeks or whatever. Yep. Like it's just not within my budget, which is fair enough. I don't even say that in like a patronizing weird way, right? That's a legitimate. Look, you know,
money's tight. I gotta pay rent.
If you're a kid, like, well, not even that. If you're a kid
Sure.
and you don't have if I'm 14 and I don't have a fucking job, I can't afford to buy a battle pass.
Yeah.
Right. Which is also, by the way, a lie because 14-year-olds playing Fortnite seem to have all the skins. I don't know how they do that.
Shout out to the V-Bucks.
Apparently, their parents are rich, and that's how it works. Steal your mom's credit card, apparently. But let's pretend that they have no money. I get it. Maybe you can't buy a battle pass. And you want to play the new hero. Is it fair? Is not? Well, okay, let's not use the word fair. That's probably the wrong word. Is it a good experience, a healthy experience for a player in that situation where they actually can't actually buy a battle pass, or maybe they just really don't want to buy a battle pass, and the hero takes too long to unlock, and they just feel like it's too much of a grind. They can't play the content that they want. Right? Is that an acceptable situation? And I get behind that. I think if that's the complaint, I fully get behind that because there will be games where like maybe I don't care about, maybe you don't really care about Overwatch, you just want to try it here but you can't. Because I could play games that I don't particularly care about And if I can't get access to the thing, that just might be a bridge too far for me, and I might leave the game. And that's legitimate. I think that's a truly legitimate situation. That's not even that hyperbolic. That's pretty grounded in reality, right? You know, we're not talking about aliens or asteroids hitting the Earth, both of which are real, by the way. And you know, we're talking about a real situation where like someone just might not have the patience to get 55 levels of a battle pass, of which we still don't know how long it's meant to be. I've heard it's something like 20 hours, but it depends. I don't know. That's not a solid info. CarQ says it's something like some creators who have been there say it's like in the 20 to 30 range or the 20 to 40 range, something like that. I don't know. It really depends on your level of commitment to the game as well, because you also earn different XP from different activities. Is it fair? I mean, that's a discussion. I feel like it's worthwhile. We're pretty deep into this discussion, but it's like this is a level where I'm willing to play ball here, and it's like, is 55 levels a good experience for like a truly free player, for someone that truly wants to play free?
I think free to play, like as like a style of playing games these days, is always going to be a little arduous. And with the limited data that we have from like just, again, you know, experience from us playing games and like how we've seen certain games like evolve, usually things start pretty aggressive in terms of like how much time you actually have to invest versus, you know, in a year, in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, how much easier it is to actually, you know, achieve or unlock heroes. I use League of Legends. I use multiple, like, I don't know if I can say Siege is a great example. I don't know if I have a great understanding of how that scene works, but I feel like it's gotten a little bit easier than what it used to be. But I'll be proven wrong if that's not the case. But I'll use League as an example because it's a big example. The game is difficult, or at least it was. League of Legends was difficult to unlock heroes. It took forever. It took so long to unlock like a brand new hero, like a 6300 champ. These days, there are so many champions. There are so many easy ways to occur whatever it is these days. Blue Essence, it used to be IP. Shout outs to the real ones who remember. That it becomes a little. It's not a thought about like, oh, I need to unlock a champion. Like, yeah, when you're a fresh account, it's a little bit harder because maybe you don't have, you know, your favorite hero, or maybe the heroes on free rotation are a little bad, vice versa, whatever. But it becomes very easy to get. Now, that doesn't speak to what it is now. And yes, 55 levels, it's you know, it's up there, but it's not the same game. And I really want to drive that home. This is not Overwatch 1. I think I speak for most people in agreement that Overwatch 2 is a better game experience, hand over fist. It's not close. This is what the game should have been. I'm also seeing that through my own anecdotal experience and through like people vocalizing that on social media, right? I don't know how many times people are like, yeah, you know what? Now that I think about it, like 5v5 actually kind of works, and it's kind of better, like in a weird way. Like it feels good to play. It feels more impactful. It feels like I have control over my destiny when I play the game. So 55 levels isn't Overwatch 1 55 levels. It's this new experience that we haven't had in like a few months because the betas were rolled out and also very staggered, and like we don't have like these cool skins to kind of chase after. We didn't even have a carrot on a stick, and people were receptive to it, right? People were just like, oh, this is a beta. Wow, this is a lot better than what it used to be. And now we're adding a carrot to that, where we have crazy Genji skins that you can spray paint yourself and colorize, and I don't even get the whole gist of it, right? You have a massive carrot in front of you, and you're only kind of looking at like the hero unlock, which again is important. Agreed. If I want to just log in and play the new hero and I can't, that feels really shitty. But that's also not what we're getting right now, because we know that Kiriko is going to be free with the Founders Pack or whatever. We also know that we're going to be allowed to play Junker Queen and Sojourn, which are two very novel heroes that maybe majority of the player base hasn't had a ton of time to play, or still hasn't like formed an opinion on, or maybe they haven't like fell in love with him yet, right? There's so many other like orbiting factors that makes this a little bit more palatable that we're not talking about, that I think this is a little disingenuous. Again, I think it goes back to the idea that oh, this is a change. I don't like change because our brains are wired to be comfortable. Yada yada yada. I get it. I sympathize. I'm also that person. But you also have to be like aware enough to go, it's gonna be fine. You're gonna play the game. It's gonna be sick. You're gonna get Kiriko, and you're gonna have a good time with him, right?
By the way,
it's gonna be cool.
The whole 55 levels thing, that can still be changed.
Yeah.
Like if it's shown that it's like not good and like most people aren't getting the hero within a reasonable amount of time,
then they'll
like
change
if
it.
most players who want the hero can't get it for free within 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, I'm specifically saying 2 weeks because that is the time that she's locked out of ranked for at the start of each season, or like whatever new hero is locked out of rank for every new season. Then I would say it's taking too long. If it takes a player who plays semi-regularly more than 2 weeks, that's a bit much.
Fair.
I'll be willing to get into that territory.
I think that's a fair argument to have.
Let me talk about something in regards to battle passes as a philosophy in Overwatch. One thing they also announced in the blog post was prestige tiers of the battle pass, which means after you complete the battle pass at level 80, beyond that you have prestige levels, and prestige levels grant you exclusive like prestige rewards, which are like title cards and stuff that you basically just allow you to show off and be like, hey, I played a fuck ton of the season. That's basically all it's worth. It's like it doesn't really have any other value unless you care about that.
Yeah.
But the point is, the fact that there's prestige in there, and that's something that is like a factor, and they're expecting that people are gonna finish the battle pass. Like here's the thing about battle passes. Battle passes are designed to be finished, right? If you can't finish a battle pass, then it defeats the point of a battle pass. The battle pass is to give you value over time, to allow you to come back and continue playing. And people, if you can't finish the content of the entire battle pass within a reasonable amount of time in the season, then people are going to stop getting the battle pass. So for a battle pass to be successful, you have to expect that a large majority of people who regularly play the game are going to finish the battle pass, and extremely dedicated people are not only going to finish the battle pass, but are going to prestige the battle pass and get some extra rewards.
Sure.
That's kind of how it goes. And the length of the battle pass wildly differs between different games. And I'm going to bring up this example.
Sure.
I played first season of Diablo Immortal. I don't play anymore because I just don't think the content is there. I don't particularly care about the pay to win stuff because I don't interact with the PvP, and this is not gonna end up being a Diablo Immortal discussion. Anyway, I don't have to justify why I played it for a month.
No.
I was curious. I like Diablo and wanted to try a game. Anyway, I don't play anymore. The point is, in that first month, in that first season of Diablo Immortal, I finished the entire battle pass, front to back, the full fucking battle pass, in under a week. Somewhere between 4 and 7 days, I finished the battle pass. Straight up, no lie, I finished it in under a week. So there's no precedent. That's not half the battle. That's not 55 levels. That's the 100%, the full fucking thing. All of it, I finished. And okay, did I play a lot of the game? I would say I played quite a reasonable amount, but I don't think I didn't play it like a full-time streamer level. You know, I logged in every day and played until I got bored, and I played several hours per day, but I wasn't like going ridiculous. I didn't finish in one. Whereas you look at the Valorant Battle Pass, and that'll take you like, even if you're quite a regular player. Like I remember when I was coaching Valorant, and I literal players playing on my team who were scrimming and playing the game competitively and playing ranked all the time. And I remember even some of them were like, holy shit, I don't have a lot of time left in the season to finish the battle pass. I'm like, these guys are playing the game daily. Granted that their time to play the game is probably a little bit limited because they have to scrim as well, so they're not playing the game as much as a streamer would. But like, they're still playing the game pretty fucking regularly. And people that are playing the game that regularly still, like, I think they all did finish the battle pass, but like, if you even have to question, like, shit, how much more am I gonna have to play to finish the battle pass? Am I gonna run out of time? If you even get into that stage, the battle pass is fucking long. I've never finished a Valorant battle pass ever. And granted, I don't play that much Valorant, but like, even as like, but I would consider myself a casual player, and I've got no shot of finishing the battle pass as a casual player. Just saying. Maybe different people have different definitions of what casual is, but I'll just put it from my perspective. So you have on one end of the scale very long fucking battle passes, and on the other end of the scale, extremely short battle passes. We got no precedent for how long it is. What is 80 levels? 10,000, what is it, 10,000 XP per level? How quickly do you earn XP? We have no precedent. We don't know. Right? So it's like, it's really hard to tell. And I again, my bar that I'll set is like, as long as people can get the hero within 2 weeks, that's probably okay to me. And they also announced like there's a bunch of other game modes where you can still play the hero. Like Mystery Heroes is a pretty big one. You can randomly roll her in Mystery Heroes and some other special events. Like obviously you can play her in Junkenstein's, right? So yeah. Seems reasonable to me. I just don't. I think it's like it's not ideal, but it's part of free to play, and I think that's just the bed you have to live in. You have to bed. It's the bed you have to lie in. It is.
Yep. It's just one of those changes that are, par for the course. It's time we modernize things, and while there is some concern, theoretically, this is a move in the right direction. The battle pass is a move in the right direction. 5v5 is a move to the right direction. Everything that Overwatch has done since its inception has been in the best interest of the game and its player base, and it has been successful. Rollock was successful. No hero limits being removed, or hero limiting was successful, right? You can still go back in like Twitter advanced search Overwatch, telling people the Play Overwatch account on Twitter, telling people that having 6 Torbs on a team was part of the gameplay experience. You can look that up. That is something you can do. I have those screenshots. Everything that this development team, for better or worse, has changed, majority of the time has been in the best interest of this game, and this is no different. Is it different? Is it a change? Is it not comfortable? Yes. Once we get our hands on the game in October, I think everybody's opinions are going to change. I think this is not going to be a discussion. I think this is a knee-jerk reaction due to some interesting points being levied in, like you said, a hyperbolic way. I think there is room for concern. I think that's a healthy thing to have. It is concerning because it's different. We don't know what it looks like. Is it aggressive? Is 55 too much? We don't know. But until we get it, we can't really criticize it too heavily. Does it sound like a lot? Maybe. We haven't gotten it yet. Everything is, we have to wait till October. This league gets better once the game's out in October. We just have to get to October. I promise you, if you have any hangups about this game, this is coming from somebody who knows next to nothing and has no information.
I mean,
things will be better once we get the game.
There are certain hangups that this game won't fix. Like if you truly love 6v6 and you truly are lamenting the death of Overwatch 1,
I'm sorry, that sucks.
This game, nothing can be done for you. I apologize. This really isn't anything. I would tell you to try other games, but there are no other games. No, they won't. That's the other problem. Is that people think there's going to be a classic. Yeah, maybe an arcade one day.
Maybe
in a fucking arcade mode one day. But like, you can't just like.
Yeah, no.
Releasing a classic. Do people not understand? I know it's a good fucking meme. Yeah. This is not a PvE. It's about to be a PvE game, but currently it's not a PvE game. Even when it is, we're talking about Overwatch 1, which was not like that game. Overwatch 1 is a PvP game. There's no, like the motherfucker. Where's the League of Legends Classic? And by the way, don't tell me Riot aren't that. They are like any other company who wants to make money. Yeah, you're not gonna fucking convince me that Tencent doesn't want to fucking make money. Okay, we're not even gonna get in there. No. Multiplayer PvP competitive games don't do this classic bullshit. That doesn't happen. It
doesn't make sense.
So there's some people that are saying it's a good meme. Haha, I agree, funny. And then there's a lot of people who actually legitimately believe it. And then I'm just like, that's sad. That's very sad that you believe that.
And if there is a community for it in the next X amount of years, then you can just throw it in like the arcade mode, right? Like Overwatch Classic. So they can create a game that you'll like.
So. Yeah, and then there's the people who think that for $40 or $60 that they spent 6 years ago, they should have all content free forever. And here's my favorite line: Overwatch 2 isn't the Overwatch I paid for. Yeah, neither is Overwatch 1, because depending on when you paid for it, a major patch introducing either role lock or fucking role limits or fucking X or Y other major update that significantly changed the game. Yeah, you didn't pay for that either, did you? That's still not the Overwatch 1 game you paid for. That's just you don't understand how live service games work if you're trying to use that argument. Anything else from this battle pass that we really need to go over? So they have a seasonal model. They have a cyberpunk theme going on. It took us. We went the wrong way. My plan originally was to go through the battle pass and then talk about the details. But then Yiska's like, you know what? Let's get into the theory of the hero and the battle pass. I'm like, fuck it. I guess we have to get into that now. Thanks, Yiska. Actually, this is a good one. The whole challenges and coins part. This is important. I feel like this has gone under the radar a bit, and there's not enough people talking about this. You can confirmed, I have this confirmed, each season of gameplay for free. This is a part of the free part of the model. You don't have to pay a cent for this. You can earn in-game currency by completing weekly challenges. And you can earn up to, I believe, 60 per week if you complete all 11 challenges, which rounds out to 540 per season. It's 9 weeks of gameplay. 9 times 60. A battle pass costs 1,000 credits. So in 2 seasons, you will earn enough credits, earn enough coins to buy 1 battle pass premium. For people that are saying like, well, you know, you can't get it every season. Yeah, I guess that's true. You're not going to get it every season, but you are going to get it every season that there's a hero. Yeah. So as long as you are not spending your coins on other things, your free coins will always guarantee that you can get the premium battle pass when a new hero releases, so that you never have to grind for the hero. And for people that regularly play the game, you will get these free coins. These challenges are not hard. The challenges are literally like win 7 games of quick play. That's legitimately one of the challenges, right? It's not that tough to get these challenges done.
No, it doesn't sound difficult, and I think this is going to be the understatement of the century. It's designed that way, and I think this is probably the single most important thing that they've added to Overwatch. I think this ends up resulting in a number of things. I think this increases player attention, which means that like the average game like plateau, like you ever look at like Steam charts and you see like after like 3 months of a game's release, you see like the average player base kind of like dip out. I think we extend that out with systems like this that like not only incentivize you to keep playing, but gives you a sense of progression, gives you like some reward that is tangible that I can spend on a lot of things. Like prior to the show, Yiska was talking about like, you know, it's gonna burn a hole in your pocket, and it's gonna be like really fun to like, oh, do I want that skin, or I could wait and pay for this hero, and like maybe that's not necessarily a good thing, but it increases the amount of people that are playing the game, and that's what I think we've been asking for a really long time, is that this game has needed something to have you return outside of just the core gameplay experience, which has also been pretty good. That has also been refined and is improved. This is just such another like step forward for this game that I agree, AVRL. This is not being talked about enough, because this not only incentivizes people, but it rewards them with actual currency. And not to sound like a BitConnect like crypto bro, but like, we know how popular Overwatch has been in the past. This is going to make this game explode.
People keep saying it's a dead game. They don't see the player numbers. It's pretty high. For a dead game, the player numbers are fucking high. Just saying.
And I think we are on the fast track to becoming a pop culture hit once again. And I will eat all the crow. I will eat my shoe. I will jump rope with Yiska if I need to. But I genuinely believe we are back to like putting Lucio on, you know, boxes of cereal and having kids like identify these things and be like, oh, Tracer, you know, really pop culture like phenomena. I believe that wholeheartedly.
Hopium.
It's because of like this.
So yeah, I'm just trying to scan the battle pass blog to see if there's anything else interesting there that we haven't really talked about. We talked about the content of the battle pass. We talked to death about the theory of this whole paywall thing. At the end of the day, the final conclusion on that is like, I accept that it is worse than what we had. No one disagrees with that. I said that earlier. It is worse than what we had. But you know, I see the long-term vision is that you need to build a sustainable financial model for the game that justifies continued support of the game. Again, the word justify and the word support are very important in that conversation. Those are very specific words I've entered into that because I think those are the most important words to use. It's the long-term vision of the game. I think too many people that are stuck on the hill that they're trying to die on for this whole criticism of it, and some of the criticism is fair, some of the criticism is really ridiculous, some of it is quite fair, but they're all trying to die on the same hill. Um, the people there, excuse me, they are missing the forest for the trees.
Yes.
And never in my life have I seen a situation where that phrase is more accurate. And the reason I say that is because I think these people are genuinely not either by choice or just subconsciously not able to see the long-term vision.
Mhm.
And they're very much just looking at the immediate thing that is arm's length away from them right now. And the response is, well, I'm an Overwatch 1 player and this is worse than Overwatch 1. Why should I support this? This is bad. And I can see that perspective, but I think it's very narrow-sighted. I think that's very narrow view. If you want to play a successful game that will get constant updates, that will be able to justify those constant updates, and by the way, high-quality updates, we've already talked to death about how good the battle pass looks compared to other battle passes in other games, the quality of the content you're going to get in that. And that's on top of, other content like seasonal events that'll always be there. The PvE that they're still working on. A lot of people think that this is the final product of Overwatch 2. This is not.
Oh,
It's
it's
not
early
the
access.
final
Early
product of Overwatch
release.
2. We're still waiting for this gigantic PvE that's coming in. And trust me, it's fucking coming, and it's going to be big. That's a core part of the Overwatch 2 experience that is still not here because they had to, make sure that we could get a release ready. Otherwise, we wouldn't even have this game until next year if it wasn't for them speeding ahead and making sure PvP was ready.
Decoupling.
So yeah, there's when you really look at the long-term vision, you can see that this is just acceptable loss. This is like an acceptable evil that I'm willing to tolerate in order to get a successful long-term game that can last for a very long time, that people want to return to and play, that I want to return to and play. That has a lot to look forward to that people don't even know about.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think you say something like very operative there. Return. Overwatch 1 never really gave you a reason to return outside of like the seasonal skins, right? Where it's like, oh, that's a cool skin. I wouldn't mind grinding that out. So you get on, you play a couple. Now you have reasons to log in every day. And this isn't like a WoW chore. So all the Shadowlands nerds pipe down. This isn't like borrowed power or anything. We're not going crazy here. But what this does do is it incentivizes you. It gives you a reason to return. You want to complete the battle pass so you can get that crazy Genji skin, or you can unlock the new hero, or at least grind out enough credits so that when there is a new hero out, you can unlock them too, right? There is a sense of exclusivity when you have a hero and somebody else doesn't, right? As much as like that is like a little toxic, I think we all have that within us, right? This is a step backwards. I agree. But it lays the groundwork for so many steps forward. I agree.
It's a necessary
100%.
evil. It's a necessary downside to what I believe is a gigantic upside, because every single game that goes free to play sees a major increase in player base numbers. That's a fact.
It is.
That's a fact.
It 100% is, and that helps us on the Overwatch League side as well. Again, there's another discussion to be had on how we transition those players into Overwatch League fans. We'll pin that for another day. But like I've brought up on as analogy before, like you need people in the restaurant for them to order food. You can't sell food to people who don't come into your establishment, right? In this hypothetical scenario, we don't have DoorDash, okay? We don't have ghost kitchens. You need people in the restaurant. So how do you get them in the restaurant? You open the doors, you let it be free to play, you incentivize them to come in, you give them a carrot on the stick that's dipped in meth, right? Just loop it up with all kinds of crazy narcotics, right? Let them get addicted to it. And I hate saying that because like we don't need that rhetoric around gaming, but I think there is something to be had about losing and kind of escaping through gaming and just like grinding something out. I think there is something fun about that. I think you can do that now with Overwatch.
I just don't like the people who are simultaneously proud of the fact that they never paid for any post-launch content in Overwatch 1. And like, or just in general, like, I don't pay for anything. And also, why are they no longer supporting the game? Well, it's like, okay, you don't understand the problem with that conversation. Okay.
Yeah. I think
so
there is I think there is going to be a community that it like does play this game free to play. It's going to be incredibly small. And like, if you want to have pride in that, like that's cool.
Well, actually,
go for it.
Most people, I think it's generally noted that most people play the game free to play if they can.
Probably.
But eventually, if they enjoy the game enough, they eventually buckle and buy something they like.
Yes.
which is
We've all
fair.
been there.
Yep. So yeah, I thought for the people that are used to free to play games and see it as see it for what it is, as long as there's not like aggressively or egregiously aggressive things in it, like actual pay to win. I don't consider heroes locked behind paywalls to be pay to win. Otherwise, Apex, Valorant, League of Legends are all pay to win games, and I don't think people view them as pay to win games. Anyone who seriously looks at that, I mean, you don't even have to own all the champions to play ranked in League of Legends or anything, or Valorant for that fact. And no, I don't care that you can swap heroes in Overwatch. Stop using that as a justification. I've fucking talked that to death as well. Spent a fucking hour talking about that, so not going back to that conversation.
You could literally remove hero swapping, and I don't think the game would change for like 90% of players. Honestly, I do believe.
Yeah.
Any further conclusions here before we log out? I think that's.
Oh, I'm excited. I think
reached the limit.
I think we've talked. We've been a little like apathetic, or if anything, a little like negative to the community. But I think this news drop
Is it apathy? Is it apathy?
It's hard to say. It's gray. I see this as like a very like gray and like almost like kind of angry discussion because of the reaction.
I just accept reality. I don't know.
Sure.
I live in the gritty real world.
Okay.
And this is the gaming industry. I don't know. Like I feel like some people live in a weird fantasy land where they think companies don't want to make money. Or I don't know.
Yeah, or they don't need to make money to also like meet the needs that you want, because you want a game that's updated, and to fund a game that is updated at the pace that you need to also make money.
And because I know there's gonna be someone that will say this is like, yeah, but why didn't they just do this in Overwatch 1 and kept Overwatch 1 going? Because it wasn't fucking making money anymore.
Yeah.
And before somebody brings up, yeah, but they made $1 billion in loot boxes. Yes, in 2017. Yeah. Tell me how much money they made in 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Yeah. I can tell you, it plummeted off a cliff after that 2017 year.
Yeah, you don't make these big changes without like cutting at the bottom line, right? Like you don't just randomly change things up if things are going swimmingly.
You can't be someone who brags about never having bought a loot box and then being surprised Pikachu face when Blizzard says they can't make money off Overwatch 1 anymore.
Yeah.
You don't get to be both people in that situation. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Agreed. That said, I think this is super exciting. I'm jazzed. I want to play Kiriko. I think she's designed incredibly well. This only furthers my refound trust in the design philosophy of this game. I think their design philosophy also is mimicked within the characters that they're producing, so you can kind of tangibly see like, hey, they're not just like chatting shit. They're not saying one thing and doing something completely different, right? They're doing what they're saying, and the things that they're executing with, like Kiriko and Junker Queen and new Doomfist or whatever you want to kind of point to, are so fun. People want to play these heroes. People are drawn to these heroes, and that's such a breath of fresh air. Because I think there was also just like this contingent of the community that is like, like what is 5v5 going to give us? Like we don't know what these heroes are going to look like, and they're so much better than what they were. This is not Orisa. This is not Brig. Like these are actionable, fluid, dynamic heroes that are fun to play.
Yiska, final thoughts? We're done.
Generally speaking, I'm pogging. Finally, like we're getting some good shit. I think of the expectations I had for content going forward, I think we're in the upper 25% of what I would have expected. So we're like definitely overshooting my expectations here. I like the incentive structures created. I would maybe like to have a discussion if 55 is maybe a little high. All of that is fine with me though. Generally speaking, looking forward to what we get to see. Also very much anticipating the impact of PvE that it will have on the scene.
Shit, I made you sick through the internet, my bad.
And I will also, like, I'm crossing my fingers that this eventually translates into esports viewers, of course.
Cool. Well, I'm ready for new Overwatch. I'm ready for it. So Obviously we didn't talk about Summer Showdown here. No time. Too much news. We're gonna have to talk about Summer Showdown and all the drama that occurred over the past week as well, because there definitely was drama on a future episode, which will come out at a future date to be decided, but it'll be before next week. That's for sure. Or actually, if we want to be really tricky about it, maybe we'll just do it next week. I don't know. Find out. Keep up with socials. 262 coming at you whenever it's coming at you, but 261 done. Hope you'll enjoy Overwatch 2. If not, I'm sorry. I hope whatever other game you play instead will live up to whatever your expectations are. But those of you that are going to pog out like me, I'll see you out there. I'll see you on the servers. Catch you later.